3, 2, 1. Cool.
Cowabunga.
Now we gotta let these equalize so they get used to the sound again. Oh no, that's all in.
Oh well.
Oh well.
It is what it is.
Someone hold this?
Nope.
Annie?
What am I
I
holding?
need help. Can you grab the microphone? It's falling off.
Oh no.
The tilt. Fuck. Screwed it up. Oh god.
Oh, I see what happened.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that we started recording now.
We could do a re-record.
No. Welcome to Swamp Life. We are the Swampcast.
Christian is kind of the dad of the pod. Is the dad of the podcast a bit
Kinda
in
is.
regards to the rules.
I
Makes
just
the rules. He breaks
It's the rules.
Yeah.
make the rules and then break my rules. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
As
I think
long as
this
you
is
know the
just
rules.
it's fine.
This is great. We're having fun.
What a great opening. Now everyone is really uncomfortable, and especially the audience, I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the Paul brothers.
Yeah, all the Pauls.
Yeah.
All the Pauls.
And even a Kevin.
Ooh.
Even the Kevin.
right.
A Kevin or two.
Alrighty, guys. How have you been? How's been the weekies?
Good. We had a little trip.
That we did.
We
I
did.
was there.
We did go to. You were there, and you were there,
Right.
and I was there. A little
We
trip to
were all
Kelowna.
there. Yeah.
The
How-
boys.
So how was coming back from the good trippy? By like the pool and enjoying the sun and then going back to work. How did that feel?
Good. It was fine.
That was kind of anticlimactic.
Yeah, but like I felt like with the 5-hour drive on the Saturday
Mm.
and then the drive back on the Monday, one more day would have been like je ne sais quoi,
Yeah.
you know.
It would have been
Yeah.
beyond
that would have
good.
been ideal.
Yeah.
But next time,
Next time. We should just take an extra day off.
every weekend.
Oh, the dream. The dream.
But yeah, no, the pool was awesome. We had the pool, the slide, the beer pong,
Dude,
floaty.
Yeah, the pool beer pong. That was fun.
Dude.
That was next level.
So we had a beer pong floaty, like a regular floaty that you lie on, but with holes to put the solo
in.
cups.
Yeah.
And there was a special hole
On the side.
on the side for your beer.
Yep.
So you can tip it up, have a little sippy sip,
Yep.
and you're good to go.
For that chlorinated beer.
Yeah. The one thing that I am sad that we didn't get to do was the trick shot off the slide
yeah.
into
That was a
the
tough one.
cups in the water.
I mean,
What?
Liz got really close.
Liz
Yeah,
was the closest.
Liz was probably the closest.
We didn't go
I was gonna
just
say.
us. Not that that's anything wrong with that. 3 dudes
No.
going
Our
renting a
girlfriends were
house
there.
with a pool and a hot tub. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's actually more than fine.
Exactly.
And the sauna.
Yeah, and the sauna.
Sauna.
Oh, yeah, the sauna, yeah.
Did you get to try it?
I did, yeah.
It was
It was
good.
good. I went solo on that one.
A
Yeah,
solo
it was
a solo sauna run.
Blasted the music.
Did you get the radio in the sauna?
radio. That was probably the most surprising part of that sauna. That was good. It was a good time.
I'm just imagining like one of the ads coming up, and that's Monday, Tuesday. Oh, it's bad to have an inside joke without the audience knowing.
That's
Anyway.
okay.
They'll cue it on.
They'll get it. No, we're priming them for that later on, and they'll
Yeah.
get it then. So it's fine.
You'll get it later.
You'll get
It's all about
it. Just
future
trust
content.
us. Just keep listening.
So, and when we got back, then we got like the big game
The speeding
news.
ticket.
I forgot about that.
We're playing Need for Speed in
Fuck.
real life.
Yeah.
And then we got a
I
little
swear I was going 90 and a 60, not 100 and a 60. I swear to God.
Yeah.
I don't know why they make it so near the highway. I guess they have to have the rest stop near the highway. I guess where else they could
Yeah.
have put the rest stop, but
But it kind of did feel like a trap almost.
oh, it was a total trap.
Yeah.
Dude was in like a 2001 like Honda Civic. I swear to God. Like it's in front, and then it just the police lights go off, and you're like,
Shit.
You guys were like, oh boy, who's gonna get in trouble?
exactly.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, who are they getting? And then
What
they waved at us.
idiot are they pulling over?
I was like, oh no, it's us.
Yep.
Like I don't know what went wrong. Well, at least you reacted in like a decent manner. That
Yeah.
you were like, all right, yeah, I was going
positive.
over, and you got like, that's kind of like the right thing.
I tried to
do.
flirt. It didn't work too well.
He was an
Hey,
Hey,
average.
officer.
Imagine if the officer came by and he was just like,
Do you know how fast you were going, meow?
Meow.
Have you not
You haven't seen Super Troopers.
Oh, I haven't seen Super Troopers.
Get the
God.
reference, bro.
I know.
It's
It's,
so
one of those
watch it.
movies.
You gotta watch it right meow.
Right. Okay.
Right
we're
now.
ending. Well, thanks for listening to the Swampcat. Maybe we'll do a watch along one day of Super Troopers
That'd be
Oh,
fun.
that'd be
with
fun.
the fans.
Yeah, that'd be really fun.
It's a good
Yeah.
Nothing
movie.
to do with games, but yeah. Do you think they'd release a game of Super Troopers? Maybe they have.
So
Maybe they
Super
have.
Troopers, it's like the dumb
Would
cops,
be amazing.
and they are just like doing stuff.
And then they're just doing dumb stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Dumb cops doing dumb stuff.
Is it like Police Academy?
Yeah, kind of.
Is it like Paul Blart's Mall Cop 2?
Don't
Probably
think
more like
so.
Paul Blart Mall Cop 1.
Ah, okay,
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Did you know
Okay.
Observe and Report was a Mall Cop movie with
Yeah,
Seth Rogen,
with Seth
and
Rogen.
then Paul Blart Mall Cop came out
before it.
like the same year though.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it came out like a few
Yeah,
months
it was like the
before
same.
Do you,
yeah. I
do you
the
think like
script got
what?
leaked, didn't it?
Oh, do you think that's why?
I
Like,
think
potentially?
so.
I think they were like Seth Rogen and Kevin James. I think were like talking to each other, but they were like about stuff and making sure they weren't doing like the same jokes and stuff.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, it was
Oh.
almost the same movie.
I
Like
read that
maybe
somewhere.
they just both had like the same idea and just like, all right, how do we keep into separate lanes?
I guess, but Paul Blart got a sequel.
Yeah.
Observe and Report didn't.
Did
So who
not.
won in the end?
One definitely got more than the other.
Mm,
I'm sure Seth Rogen's doing fine.
Yeah, I think so.
yeah, for sure.
He just got a new movie out, American Pickle.
What?
Oh,
haven't
I
seen
want to
it,
see that.
but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't-
Supposedly it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Haven't.
American? Is it like Sausage Party?
No.
No.
It's
Ah,
quite
but you could.
different.
But it sounds like it might be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be like a spin-off of
Yeah.
that. It's definitely not though. It's quite different.
Is it a comedy?
Yeah,
I think
looks
so.
like
Yeah.
it.
It looks a little bit absurdist. Like so the premise that is in the trailers and stuff is this guy gets like falls into pickle brine and kind of gets pickled.
This is
and-
totally Sausage Party like.
Uncle Seth.
Pickle Seth, yeah. And he like is preserved for like what 100 years or something like that,
Something like that.
and then gets like I don't know unpickled, and then is just walking around modern America and kind of like checking.
How have
stuff
I not
out.
heard this? Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he ends up meeting his grandson, who's also Seth Rogen, so he just plays both of them. So he plays like an older, like essentially his grandpa.
Great
right?
granddad or something?
Great grandpa, maybe? Yeah.
But
And
he's
then-
frozen, so there's no like aging up of
There's
him.
no yeah.
No. So he's
just
the
got-
same age. He's just got a giant beard.
Oh, wild.
Yeah. So it's like this.
And different values.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure what those are.
Yeah, for sure.
And how do they get along
Yeah,
in today's
exactly.
climate?
Yeah,
One's a
exactly.
stoner and one hasn't been introduced to weed yet.
I can't imagine Seth Rogen playing a character that doesn't get high.
Observe and report.
I thought you were making that as a comment about, but it was actually that was the movie.
He's
he
like,
was
we'll
in
get
before.
back to you. We'll get back to you. Yeah. Oh man.
Double reverso.
Yeah, Uno reverse.
Reverso.
Well, the other news that I was talking about that wasn't getting a speed ticket was Xbox Series S.
Ah,
got announced.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah.
It's compact, it's portable, and it's good to go.
It's definitely compact. No,
They-
I don't think
they-
it's portable.
No, but you can take it places. That's portable.
It's portable like a light PC that you kind of need to make sure that there's constant power to and a screen.
So it's very not portable at all.
But it looks.
But it's
looks
good.
pretty
It is good to go.
Yeah. No, I think it was a
On
pretty
November.
Okay.
in November. Yeah,
Damn it.
exactly.
What was the first part I said of that?
I don't remember.
Yeah, it's compact.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Like
Nail.
yeah. It's like a third of the size of the Series X, and
Yep.
I think it's their smallest Xbox to date.
Oh,
kind
for
of thing.
sure. Because you go Xbox, the first one, not Xbox One.
Yeah.
Don't fall for their traps.
Xbox the first.
Yeah.
I feel like that will be their next gen. Xbox the first.
Xbox the first. Xbox Uno.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Uno
then,
reverse.
There's something there,
Yeah.
actually.
I wonder if the Xbox, first Xbox, if
first
the
Xbox.
controller, that giant controller, is bigger than the Xbox Series S. I
Is that what
wonder.
it's called? Series S?
Is
Series
it?
S is there. So
Series
they got the
small?
Series
Is
X,
that what it...
which I don't know.
Okay.
Series Extreme. I don't know.
Series Xbox?
Whatever. And then Series S, the series smaller than Extreme.
Xbox Series Small. We're so extreme.
Extreme.
Xbox Live. Okay. Yeah.
Good branding. Anyway.
I wonder why they don't just make it smaller and then make it like a dongle on your TV. I guess that's they have to have chips in it and stuff. They have to have something inside.
Well, that would just be a cast, right? So
Yeah, that'd
Yeah,
be
it's
like a
true.
streaming
Then
thing.
you're just totally
Yeah.
streaming the thing. That's
Yeah.
true. Mine was a dumb point I made, but it's okay. Many
You
more to
tried.
come.
that's what this series is about. It's all of us saying dumb things and hoping.
That's what the S stands for.
Series.
This is why we're dumb.
Anyway.
All right, I had a point. I was looking because I'm getting the PS5 day
Yeah.
one, any PS5 day one.
Yeah.
Your Series X day one.
I think so.
Okay. I was thinking, do I also
We
get the
need
Series
variety.
S? But then I'm like, no HDR, no 4K.
Yeah.
So what does it have?
Well, the idea is the Series X and the PlayStation are both around and PlayStation 5 are both around $500, right? Like
Yeah.
US.
Right.
So the Series S is supposed to be $300.
Mm.
It's supposed to be, what is it? It's 2K. Was it like plugs, but can potentially be
Like your
Like-
TV can upscale it, I think.
can
is
upscale it
what-
to 4K. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But to people who that the visuals matter, which for a lot of games nowadays is somewhat part of the immersion, I guess.
Mm.
Is that worth it? I think with the $300 price tag, if PlayStation came out with a version like that, then I would probably have the Series X and then the PlayStation 5 Mini or whatever.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because then it'd be nice to have both consoles and not break the bank. And that means that I think people who... what I think is that what they're doing is they think that PlayStation 5 was probably going to outperform them. And then this is like a way for them to say, but you don't have to break the bank and also have an Xbox,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
Because
Safeguard.
they're kind of behind on the exclusives and stuff.
Yeah.
And they did announce like a few that look quite interesting, but those don't come out like only.
They're not immediate.
Yeah, they're not
launches.
immediate.
What are the main launch titles for the Xbox?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Because Halo got delayed.
Halo got
They had to
delayed.
bring on the Bungie guy to fix Halo, I heard.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Oh,
the
ouch.
main So they released the trailer for Halo
Infinite?
6?
Yeah,
Infinite.
yeah.
Halo
Infinite,
Infinite. I looked at it, people were hating on it. I thought it looked kind of cool.
Yeah.
But the graphics kind of weren't up to snuff.
Right.
Yeah.
They were saying I thought it looked kind of cool. But then they delayed it. It was supposed to come out in November. They pushed it back to whenever.
February, I think.
I don't know.
I think it might be indefinite. I'm not sure.
Oh, wow.
And then but they brought on the old Bungie lead
Oh.
to work. So now he's working on it. So stuff's going on there if they bring him on.
Yeah.
Because that's crazy. He's working for literally a separate studio
Yeah.
that's owned by Activision, right? Are they owned?
Are they anymore? No, because I thought they had a deal.
So
they were working.
They're just
with
publishing Destiny through it.
They were, but then Bungie, I think, separated from Activision because there was so much problems with Destiny 2. And I think Bungie's trying to release Destiny 3 on their own. That was the last thing that I heard. I'm not entirely sure how
Okay.
accurate that is. We could do a dive into that sometime later.
Yeah.
But that's, interesting.
It is interesting.
Very interesting.
Because with those games, like even the Halo brand kind of needs a bit of rejuvenation a bit,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
like
probably.
from
I think
Halo.
that's what they were expecting to do with this new one, right?
Yeah, it's
New-
open world a bit. Yeah.
New generation, so you get a bunch of new fans going into
Yeah.
it as well.
Yeah, but like Halo 1, 2, 3, kick ass, everyone loves, so much hype.
Yeah.
4 and 5,
Mm.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, I guess it kind of.
I played them, they're decent games, but I think it's also rough being on, Halo 4 was Xbox 360, but Halo 5, Xbox One as well, smaller install base, right? But I feel like the Halo brand kind of needs a kick in the butt a bit.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's kind of like the thing that drew people into the first three were kind of like I think shooters were just kind of becoming a hit at that point, right? Like
FPSs, on
Yeah,
consoles especially, yeah.
yeah, on consoles, yeah. So that was the thing that was like a big draw to it, and they had like this universe that was fun to explore and kind of interesting to get into, and it had a decent story. So like, at least people who didn't like necessarily like shooting games could kind of get drawn into it just out of curiosity.
That's true.
And then by the time they got into the later ones, I started feeling like the story itself was getting a little convoluted, and I don't know. There
Well, like
were parts of
Cortana's
it.
bad, but you still love Cortana. It's too much.
Yeah, and I guess it's also because then they started jumping between like different people as well, right? Like they had like they were introducing new Spartans, which is cool and all, but
You get some Nathan Fillion. You sign me up for that.
Yeah.
But
Was he a Spartan?
he
Yeah.
was, yeah.
Cool.
He voices one and stuff, yeah.
but he's part of like the new generation of Spartans and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of cool. Like if you're going to introduce, but they kind of like did when they were doing that. That was a little bit like they had that, but they also had Master Chief there, right? So
Yeah.
you bounce between both of them, and I think it was like a little bit like go one way or go the other.
Yeah.
Like, don't bounce between the thing because they're trying to. What I felt was they were trying to create like this more complicated story, but we didn't spend enough time with the new guys to make it feel like them chasing Master Chief was justified. Like, at least personally, I was like, cool. I kind of understand why they're trying to do this. They're trying to create conflict in the player, but that means I'm not really invested in either of them anymore. Because I don't
Yeah.
really. If I'm gonna play as both of them, then it's like it. Then it doesn't mean it means that my decision as the player doesn't matter because it has to be pre-scripted
Yeah.
because I'm bouncing between both of the protagonists. So I can't be like the guy who's shooting at you and then be the guy who's also still shooting at me who's getting shot at by me, you know, like it just kind of makes it
Right.
a little bit like I
Well,
don't know.
that was a whole issue they had with Halo 2, right? Where you played as the Arbiter for half the game in Halo 2.
But they
for
had
the
separate
campaign.
stories. They weren't after each other once they met, right?
Yeah, they were separate. Yeah.
Like they met up
Um,
at some point, but then that
I
was
don't think they
kind-
met up in the second one.
Yeah, yeah.
The third one they met up. Did they meet? Oh, they did meet at the end of the second one.
with that flood.
Yeah, and then because you
angry
played
thing.
as Arbiter in the end, and then you're as master. Halo 2 ends with you as Master Chief in the ship, and then Cortana saying, "What are you doing, Chief?" And he says, "Finishing this fight." And then the game ends, and everyone's
Yeah.
like, "Oh crap!"
Yeah.
And then Halo 3 it goes to.
It's a great
Yeah.
way to end a game.
Well, and it was really
Everyone
fun.
was very mad.
Yeah,
because
or
you
that.
ended playing as the Arbiter, so you're like, "Oh, I get one more Master Chief level,"
Right.
and it's like, "Oh."
It's like, nope.
And you don't, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that was a mistake that they could have.
Yeah, and then they look back and they're like, "Oh," and then Halo 3 only played him as Master Chief,
Yeah.
and Halo 4 as well.
Yeah.
I think.
I didn't mind the idea of having the Arbiter as like.
I didn't mind it too, and the campaign was so fun as well overall, and the multiplayer was the best.
Yeah.
I would say in
Yeah.
Halo 2.
Yeah, and I think what they really did well was it was a way to introduce the enemy as like a thinking being, because in number one it was just, oh, here are these brutish violent creatures that we get to mow down and be like, haha, we are the good guys in this. And then in the second one they kind of like, oh, there's this culture behind it, especially if you didn't read the books. Like if you didn't read the books, then
Who
it
read
was
the
like,
Halo books? Did you
Hmm?
read the Halo books?
I read a few, but only after my best friend like was like, that was the only books he would read. So it's like, all right, I'll give him a shot, and they were pretty good.
Yeah,
It kinda
guess.
made me
I don't know why I'm
question-
bullying you over reading the books. I
didn't
love Halo
even-
lore. I feel like I would read the books. I just didn't, and I'm sad.
Yeah. I mean, it's never too late.
Yeah, it's true.
Never too late.
Get it on that Kindle.
Anyway, well, yeah, so that's like a long-winded way of saying that Series S and even Series X has a lot to live up to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
we'll
maybe
see.
that PS5, like the digital version, might be able to.
Because that's what their lower end, their lower end models that digital
Yeah.
only.
But how much lower end, right?
We don't know.
Probably like $100
Yeah.
off, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
I think they didn't announce price yet, but I think it'll be probably because you can't really do anything lower than 100. Or what's the point?
Well,
You know?
Yeah, that'd be hard.
Yeah, like you need that like $100
And
buffer
I also
in
just
between.
don't think they're willing to go much lower than that.
No, and that's what it'll probably be. What 5? Because Xbox Series S or X is 500, right?
yep. The
So
Series
PS5
X.
will be 500 probably as well, US.
Yeah.
And then digital only will make. I guess you could do 450. Then you just pay $50 more to get it
Yeah,
disc
you might
only,
as
right?
well,
you kind of
yeah.
have to go 400.
But maybe it depends on like what it is that they're offering with like, oh, okay, like without the disc drive maybe they can offer a little bit more memory or something. I don't know what the comparison is with the PlayStation 5, because they just they showed them both at the same time and they looked about to be the same size.
Yeah.
I imagine about the same stats and everything,
Yeah.
right? Just one was missing the disc drive and looked a little bit sleeker because of it.
Yeah.
Right? That's it.
I guess.
Yeah, they haven't really done a much deeper dive into what exactly are you getting
Yeah,
with
that's
each
true.
system and what the differences are. I think they're honestly probably just waiting for Xbox to do their.
Well, that's what they did before as
Yeah.
well, and I found that very
Which is
frustrating.
weird because like, shouldn't you already have this shit ready to go?
Well, I think they already do.
Regardless
That's the
of-
thing.
But I think they can't like release the price that's the day afterwards, or it's too much. Like
No.
we were
Yeah,
waiting.
yeah.
They have to wait like at least a week.
Yeah, for sure.
Or it's too
I'd
like
probably expect
obvious.
something next week or
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
week after.
Xbox comes out and says, "Just kidding, here's a real price."
Yeah.
Something, I don't know.
Probably some real.
Uno reverse.
Yep.
Oh, that'd be brilliant.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that would escalate the console wars to a,
A
point
little
of
bit.
like, I would love to just watch it. Just
Yeah,
popcorn
Is there
it.
really even a
First
console? I
person.
feel like there's less of a console wars nowadays. I feel like
I
people
hope
don't
so,
really.
because
Much of a war.
It is a stupid kind of.
It's a dumb war.
Yeah.
It's like let people enjoy what they want to enjoy. Damn,
Yeah.
like what's it matter to you that someone's buying a thing that you don't
Yeah,
want
literally
to buy?
has nothing to do with anybody.
Yeah.
You buy whatever you want to buy.
It just
regardless.
fake brand loyalty the companies like to kind of muster.
Yeah. pretty
Yeah.
much.
It all started back with like Genesis, right? When it was like, screw Nintendo, Genesis is cool. We have a hedgehog. Who likes this mushroom guy, right? Like it's all because they needed to kind of build their brand, so they make fun of the
Yeah,
big
yeah,
boys.
yeah.
Got to make
Now
make
I
a name
think
for
it's
themselves,
more based
right?
on like the developers. Like people are more kind of, I guess they like the developers more than the actual consoles.
Yeah,
They're like, oh, we like what these people make and what they do, so we're looking forward to the next game that they're gonna do, as opposed to they're specifically just for this console, so we're gonna root for this console regardless of
Yeah,
how shitty the game will
it's
be.
true.
Well, that's exactly like the point of like why the console manufacturers must have realized this way early on, which is why they're pulling
The
in exclusives,
exclusivity,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the idea, is to pull in these exclusives because they realize like that's how you really like you create loyalty through experience that you give people,
Yeah.
right? And the experience doesn't come from the hardware. Unless your hardware is that bad, right? But it really comes from the game itself, right? Like I'm gonna continue to have really fond memories of playing the N64, even though obviously the hardware itself is not gonna
Yeah.
be comparable to like a PlayStation like nowadays, right?
And it's funny because like with the Xbox, the first one, and the 360, they had multiplayer. That was their like
big thing,
their big
yeah.
thing to get on board for, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Which I do enjoy. Like I miss
yeah.
playing with my friends. Like I really, really dislike the current trend for, all right, yeah, you can play with your friends as long as they have a
online.
console and
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
online. And
That's
it's like,
bullshit.
what am I gonna do? Bring my TV and my PlayStation or
Which is
my
literally what we
Xbox
have
over to
do
my friend's
sometimes
house?
now.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
System
It's like
Link.
a system link for 2 players. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's just-
With that, I do like how the cross-play between platforms. That is
that's
super
good.
cool. I do like that.
I'm glad that
Yeah,
they've opened that up.
Yeah, which is weird because 10 years ago, I would never think that was good. That would happen.
No.
With like being able to play with like a
Completely
PS3
disregarded.
Yeah.
person and stuff. Like they're the bad guys.
Well, I find it funny because it's like didn't they alternate? Like, wasn't there this thing where 1 year like Xbox would be saying, yeah, we should try this, and PlayStation would be like, no, and the next year PlayStation would be like, yeah, we should try this, and Xbox would be like, no. And I feel like that must have been all manufactured because I'm not sure if this is confirmed or if it was a rumor, but at some point. I think it was COD or something. People were playing online and realized that other people that they were playing against were on a different console, and then
it just happened by
yeah,
accident.
well, I think it must have been like maybe not a bug, but like something that they were
A
just
network,
testing it,
separate.
yeah.
network,
Yeah,
thing.
a network thing, and then both the companies figured it out and shut it down. Again, not sure if that was a rumor, but
But
I
it's
heard
a fact, is what we're saying.
it's not a rumor; it's a fact.
Can this be just like a sourced like rumor podcast where we just make up?
I mean, so far we could be doing that without knowing.
That's
like,
true.
I don't remember if that was a real. But then they implemented that with like Rocket League and with the latest COD as
Yeah,
well.
the
that we got
COD,
to
the
play.
Rocket League.
Yeah.
And that was really
You have
fun
the-
to be like, cool, you guys have this
That's-
console, I have
yeah.
the other one, and we can actually just play and enjoy it. And it's
we
like,
do have the technology. Okay.
We have the technology.
I feel like we've had the technology for the last bloody decade.
Exactly. That's the thing, right? It's like we've always assumed and been like, oh, they probably have the technology. They're just holding out on us, and now clearly they have been holding out on us. Oh, there's a moth in here.
There's a big ass moth in here.
Dude, there's a moth like infestation.
I saw. Yeah.
That's gross.
What the actual fuck?
Can we do this
we already
podcast
experienced
outside?
that in our house together when we lived together
Yeah.
a few years ago.
They're like
Ah.
the big ones now, though. These guys
Yeah.
are like.
I had a rat infestation. Y'all can take your little junior mints out of here, boys.
well, then we had a mouse.
They had one mouse. As far as
One
we were
mouse.
aware, at
Yeah.
least,
Did you have a mouse bite you? Like, no, or rat bite you? Sorry.
No.
Yeah.
No,
You
we're
don't
not-
talk to me.
No,
This
no,
ain't
talk to me
competition.
later.
You know what? No, you know what? Because I would never put myself in that situation.
This is not
Just
an
throwing
infestation.
They were my friends.
There's Jerry.
There's
Jerry,
there's
stop.
Kramer. There's wait, I can think of the other
Tommy
one.
Lee Jones.
No, wait, George and Elaine.
George.
I forgot the other ones. I love Seinfeld though. Story time. Before I forget, I was at the gym before. Took a big pre-workout. Had a good workout, and I saw a buddy that I haven't seen in a while at the gym. Social distancing conversation, obviously, but I thought, because over the past few months, kind of leaned down, I've kind of, got the cardio on point, right? Looking pretty good. So I was thinking he was gonna say, "Oh, Thomas, you're looking really good," right? He didn't say that, but I thought he was going to, because that's what a nice
So you
person would
answered
do. That's
question?
how do you guys have conversations? So I was thinking that he was gonna say something like,
Along those lines.
along these lines, that no, he wouldn't say that, but he would say like, oh, you've gotten really super fit over quarantine. I thought I was gonna say that, and then I thought I was gonna say that it was very funny. Was your boy didn't quarantine? Your boy adulted out here, fam.
Oh my god.
And I thought that was gonna be so funny. And
then you read it again.
no, and then he didn't ask me. He didn't say that about me being in shape, so I didn't say it. And then
Oh, you wrote
afterwards,
it
I'm
down?
like, that actually wasn't very funny. But I was so convinced that that was really funny.
In the moment.
The
Yeah.
anticipation of what your line was gonna be made me snort water. I'm.
Your boy didn't quarantine. I adulted.
Oh, I'm glad he didn't ask.
Yeah. And I had a couple other gym thoughts that I thought were funny. I didn't write them down though.
Oh.
So
But
next
do you
time.
remember them?
No. If I remember them, I wouldn't be mad. I didn't write them down. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to say, because I told you guys that I was going to say it now, because I was going to save that for the podcast. So,
Yeah.
Very good.
Very worth it. I actually really like the
You like
delivery.
that? Okay, good.
Oh, the delivery itself. I don't know. Your timing is spot on.
You were jamming to something.
Oh yes, Avril Lavigne. So
right.
it was. Wait.
Does she have a new album?
Nope. 2000.
She hasn't made
It was a
music in a
retro.
Dude, I don't know.
It was a retro.
That's why it's new. Maybe it was one of those drops. Oh shit, that's wicked.
Because I was in the car going home when they were doing old school songs.
Right.
My Happy Ending by Avril Lavigne. Straight gym banger.
Okay.
Yeah, try it out next time.
Yeah.
I think that song fueled my.
I don't remember it. Can one of you sing it to
line?
me?
What? I think it might have.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Adult.
Yeah. Sing the song.
How does it go?
One of you? Both of you?
Sorry about
Oh,
this
yep.
happy ending.
Got it. Yeah. All right.
See?
That's all I need.
Uh,
Not to put you on the spot. I just genuinely didn't remember.
Okay, good. No, because I was thinking, I was like, we could do an ad break here if we had ads.
But we
But
don't.
we
We don't have ads.
No, not yet.
Not yet. Wait, they're coming.
Are we
No, no.
excited about this? There are ads.
There
so
are
we
ads. Are we supposed to be
that
excited
part.
about it?
I mean, if there weren't our ads, I would be less excited.
That's true.
We're selling out before we have sponsors, guys.
Yeah.
It's not.
No, don't
We're
tell
just
them.
selling
Don't
out to
say that.
ourselves,
No.
though, so
No. They have to think we have sponsors, because then sponsors listen, and then they think we have sponsors,
To give
so they
us
want
more
a sponsor.
sponsors.
Yeah.
It's reverse psychology.
Yeah, you don't tell them we don't have sponsors.
We have so many sponsors. We just can't name them all right now because that would take too much
No,
time. And our 2 hours.
they
would
actually
be
don't
done.
want us to name them. It's actually in the agreement.
Yeah.
They
It's
don't want
anonymous.
us to mention them in the
We've been
podcast.
sponsored to not mention them.
A brand thinks we're such a bad influence, they pay us not to mention them on the podcast.
It's another Uno Reverso.
It's another Uno Reverso. So I guess so there could be an ad break here because to transition to our main topic,
Right.
right?
So the topic for today is video games based on comic books.
Don't look at me. Don't look at me.
But nobody
Wasn't this
did.
your idea?
I mean, I just put it out there.
don't hold me
Actually, I
against
think it was your idea.
That was your idea.
Ah,
I
rats.
just put it in a list.
It was one of many ideas.
It's true.
Oh.
You know?
No, yeah. It was the Avengers game. That's what started the whole
Ah,
thing.
yeah, 'cause I'm
and then
like,
I'm like,
that's-
how about we just do
Yeah.
general
combine.
comics and games?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
exactly.
It was still Thomas's idea. I'm gonna back out from my
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I
involvement.
agree with that as well.
So, Annie, you're currently playing the Avengers game.
I am.
How is it?
How do you?
Not
do
how
that?
are you playing it, but how
Oh,
is it?
okay. I suck at it. No, I'm just kidding. It's all right. It's not like I like the campaign. I think the campaign's fun. They've got a shit ton of stuff to fix though.
Is it out? I thought it was just the demo.
Oh, it's out. It's fully out.
Came out like last week.
Yeah. Yeah, it's full game. Or I mean, I don't know if you could even call it a full game because it's,
Really?
well, it's a loot box game, right? So there's still more to come, but it feels like a full enough game to be like, okay, this is a full game.
Because there's like a main story. That,
Yeah,
At the beginning,
so there's
middle,
a,
and end.
so there's
right?
a main
Yeah.
campaign, which is what I've mostly been playing. I've played the multiplayer a few times. I feel like it's more fun. I'm gonna reiterate, but I just think they really should. I really feel like it needs that local multiplayer. Like, I would love for you guys to come here and we could all play it together. You know?
Yeah.
It's the Avengers. Like, I don't want you to have to go and buy the game in order
Yeah.
to play it with me. Like, I want to play it with you regardless of that. But anyway, mini rant.
Having said that, due to the times that we're in, it's very good to social distance games.
yes.
We're
yes.
just already in our own bubble,
Yeah.
so we've
Well,
been
it's like,
remaining.
yeah, you guys are literally the only people I mostly see. So,
Yeah.
and I would like to play Avengers with you guys. So
Yeah, it's true.
It'd be fun.
It was weird. I thought that the whole story would be you could play in co-op. That's what I thought they were going to do beforehand.
Yeah, that's what I would have
Oh,
assumed.
you
Yeah.
can still play the campaign with other people.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So,
Oh.
But
if,
only online, right?
But only online. Yeah. But so
Cross-platform?
not yet. I don't think.
Ah.
Yeah. See, like that's the thing. I think that it's one of those games that it's really hard to review it when it comes out because there's so much more yet to come.
Sure.
Like you can tell, it's like okay, they've got a community posting where people can literally go and tell them it's like okay, this is not working, or take
That's good.
screenshots and be like okay, this isn't like there's a shit ton of bugs where it's like oh like there's a Captain America suit that where his eyes bulge out and shit. Like it's just a lot of weird
Weird.
bugs out there, and one where he's like you jump off into the main mission, but you're literally just keep falling. Like you don't actually start the
That
mission.
happened to you?
No, that hasn't happened to me, but I've seen all this shit happen.
That sounds like they
Um,
released a beta.
Yes, it does sound like that. Because
It's
that's what
getting
it feels
it's getting
like
a bit
sometimes.
torched in the review. The Metacritic's like, let me see what it is, like 69.
Nice.
Nice. That's what it was last time I checked.
See, yeah, that's the thing. Like,
And like I don't want to be like a Metacritic's the golden like.
right.
Goose,
I feel like if
but,
I was
like,
basing it just off of the campaign, which is kind of the main reason I'm even playing it is for the campaign because I was just like, oh, it's a new story and like they do seem like actual like fans of these characters, so it's like okay, you'll probably do a good story for it. So far, so good. It's a good story. Like
Cool.
everything about like the characters, the voice acting, the character designs, and even it's not really customizability. Again, okay, that's another issue that I kind of have is the skins in the game, like the customizability that they want to give you. They just feel like color swap outs.
Oh, that's kind of lame.
So that's kind of I'm just like, could have done a lot better.
No like
there.
extra armor, no like extra little features.
There is, but it's just not as much as it could have been. Like there could have been so like I compare that kind of shit to Injustice 2. You know, like they have the gear system in that game.
Yeah.
So you can literally and like in Injustice it's swappable to the point of like torso is swappable and then your pants are swappable and you know if your characters have specific accessories and those are swappable as well, right? But in this it's like it's not like that. It's not like you can just take out if like I just want to take out Thor's cape. I don't have that choice to do that.
Yeah.
And even those costumes that they have, it's like Thor is just wearing a shirt and jeans, and then you know instead of it swapping to something like oh maybe like he's got a jacket or a trench coat.
They
it's
should do
like,
Fat Guy Thor.
they should do,
Dad
which they
bod.
probably will, and
Yeah.
they'll probably charge you for it, most
Yeah.
likely, because I'm guessing all cosmetics, any sort of additions. They're gonna charge you for it,
Yeah.
especially like the MCU stuffs,
Yeah.
because like
you
people will pay for that
Yeah.
shit. So that's the thing though. Like even the shirts that he has, it's like, oh, we're just gonna give him another shirt. I'm like, you literally just changed the color of the shirt. Like
Yeah.
that's all you really did. I mean, you put like a design on it, but you know, there's nothing more than that. So like, in that, as a base game to do something like that, it just feels, I don't know,
Well,
lackluster.
How many characters do they have in it? Like, do they?
So far, 6.
Oh, okay. That's.
I also heard from
Not as
a
much.
review that you don't get to play as them all for the majority of the game. Like it's kind of near the end where you actually kind of
I mean, the game's like
Assemble
mission,
the
it's
Avengers.
mission based, right? The whole story of the game is reassembling the Avengers. So you don't, because they haven't assembled yet.
so you still play as them but individually and not.
Yeah.
Oh, I got you. Okay, that's not as bad.
Yeah, so each character has kind of like their own mission, or like mission chain, basically.
Yeah.
So you can select whichever character you want to level up or max level out, and then go and play their missions. You'll probably get gear based on those characters, and then you can upgrade them or customize them, and yeah, stuff like that. Like the skill, I think the skill tree was one that I actually did enjoy. Like that was impressive, because
That's
there's
good.
a lot to go into the skill tree and the combat. Like the combat's fun. That's the thing that I'm looking forward to whenever I start the game. Like it's the combat.
And that's
It's really
all
fun.
that really. No, that's half the
It
the
is-
battle.
Yeah.
Is the combat.
So
Part of
like
the fun.
yeah, I'm basing it on like that kind of shit: campaign, combat, story, because it's a comic book game. I mean, you know,
Good combat and story, which it seems like it kind of has good combat
got
and
both of
story.
those,
So the
yeah.
foundation is there.
yeah.
Already.
So like,
already,
I would love
right?
to see this. I would love to revisit this game in like a year.
Well, it's coming out on PS5 and Xbox,
Exactly.
so that's what I'm
So,
going to do for it. I'm going to wait
I
for
would
it to
just
come
wait.
out.
Yeah, I think like if I were
Yeah.
to tell anyone about this game, like just if you want to, if you can wait, and I'm assuming if you don't have it yet, you probably will.
Yeah.
Just wait a year and then see what the game is like in a year, because it's not going to be the same game. For sure, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be. It's like Battlefront, you know? It
Okay.
changed
That's cool.
drastically.
I think that's something that would be really interesting. Would be if, like, to actually play with other people, because you haven't played it with other people, right?
Mm.
And I think like it's an Avengers game, so I think a group of superheroes being in a game should be about the group kind
For
of
sure.
thing.
Yeah,
So
like-
it's okay that they have like this solo missions thing for a story, but if the concept is the Avengers, then it should really kind of heavily rely on
Teamwork.
teamwork and
Yeah.
playing with different people. So it'll be interesting once you get it, like how that works out.
Yeah, because like it's you got like I'm Thor, Annie's Iron Man. You're
How do you guys work together?
yeah
Is there
Spider Man.
cool
Like
combat
you all
thing?
like yeah, and you
Exactly.
just like you yeah
Yeah, and each character kind of has their own like buffs and, you know, specific skills that'll either work well for a solo or as a team. And so you have to kind of, it's like, oh, I'm about to use this buff right now, so you have to get closer to my proximity in order for
Yeah.
you to gain some sort of ability or power up from this
Yeah.
buff, so we can both take down whatever we're facing.
Kind of like Thor's hammer and
Yeah.
Cap's shield kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
they both have to be next to each other. to
Exactly.
use that
Yeah, they
stuff.
definitely have like those team up moves and like those kind of team combos and stuff like that. And I feel like they should continue adding more, which I feel like they will. I think like that's the thing. I think this game is meant like it's ambitious in the way that they want to keep working on it. It's not like it's a one and done and we're just gonna move on to Avengers 2 now. It's not like that. It's supposed to be like a post launch. You know, they've got an entire plan set out. For
Yeah.
like, okay, we've got these many characters that are supposed to come out, and you know they were supposed to announce a bunch of characters, but they were supposed to announce Black Panther, but they couldn't
Ooh,
because
yeah.
of
Yep.
Chadwick, rest in power.
sure.
So they just chose to announce like another character instead. But like that kind of gives you an idea of like, okay, they want to do more stories, and that's all gonna be free. So
that's good. And Spider Man's coming out too.
And
Is he
Spider-Man.
free?
He's free
For
too.
That's cool.
PlayStation.
Ah,
PlayStation.
ooh.
It's supposedly a timed exclusive. I don't know if that's true. That might just be a rumor, but I don't know.
We'll wait and see.
We'll wait and see.
It'd be cool if they added PvP.
That's what I wanted to. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I
that'd be
wanted.
pretty
It'd be
cool.
sweet.
You could
Just
actually
Civil
do
War.
the Civil War. Yeah,
Yeah.
but because you haven't read the comics for the Civil War, right?
No.
Oh, like for those who have read the comics for the Civil War, this thing was supposed to be
Huge.
huge, like
Yeah.
epic, like world.
More like
takeover kind
Infinity
of-
War type battle.
Kind
Like, in regards to size.
not
It's
like
just-
in terms of cosmic levels. It's more of in terms of like world governments and that kind of.
But I mean,
okay.
like
oh, gotcha.
all the
okay.
heroes, like heroes and villains, and then some heroes like taking villains as like as part of their team
Oh,
because they're
they
trying
need-
to
they need to- oh, that's
some extra
cool.
numbers.
So
you
yeah,
know?
you got like all these team ups. that you're
Moral
not really-
compromises.
Oh, that's
and,
so
and who can you trust kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like I mean, it's genuinely it was a fantastic
And
comic.
and a lot of really interesting conversations were brought up because of that. It's like, you know, you've got a character like Luke Cage, for example, and he just wants to go to the, like, he's just a New York guy, like, he's just living in New York, doing his own thing and, like, saving people in the meantime. And then I remember this particular scene where he's just, like, in a grocery store with his kid, just getting milk, and then everyone knows who Luke Cage is, so as soon as, like, the Registration Act gets passed, he's just bombarded by cops and, like, drones and all
Oh,
this shit.
that was in his home.
No, that was...
No, it's in
was
his
that
home.
in his home? Okay,
See,
maybe
what
that
happened
in
was
his
like
home.
Tony went to him and kind of told him like that he should register and blah
Yeah.
blah blah. So there was this event that happened that causes like the world governments to say that I think was it just the world or the U.S.
I think it was the U.S. government.
The U.S. government to say if you have a superpower, you have to come and register with the government.
So kind of like that's in Civil War, the movie, they did that.
Yeah.
kind of,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
as well.
I think
they adapted that.
They adapted it to a degree, and the point was that you would have to give your identity, your powers, and go through like training, you know, that kind of thing, right? And Luke Cage was already a public figure because everyone already knew he was powered and already knew his name anyway, right?
Yeah.
So he was just living, and he didn't want to sign this because he was worried that it's kind of a draft system, you know, like once you're signed up, then the government can then be like, oh, you have this superpower that's very useful for this situation, or oh, you're part of us now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, kinda like a
you lose
lapdog.
you lose some freedoms, right? So Tony went to him to kind of like warn him about to tell him you should register, and he was like, no, or I'll think about it. He was trying to kind of like weasel out of it.
Yeah.
Well, not weasel out of it. He didn't want to, but trying to be peaceful about it,
Yeah.
right?
Civil about it.
Civil
Ah.
about it. Yeah, yeah. And then he went home. His wife, Jessica Jones, got his kid out, and he stayed in home and waited for the clock. I remember this very clearly.
Oh,
You see the
yeah,
clock
you're
counting
right.
down to midnight because that's when it comes into effect, and it goes. And the second it hits midnight, the cops
Wow.
just burst into his home
Right.
because they just knew, he was like, I'm just gonna wait for them. I'm not gonna do anything. I'm not gonna hurt anyone.
That's
but the
so
second
badass.
they burst in, oh, he was badass. Luke Cage is
Yeah.
awesome.
Is it? Can you read the comic in its?
It's got its own like actual issue. I've
Okay,
got it
cool.
at home. I can
Oh, you
just
do?
lend it
I
to
actually
you,
do.
yeah.
I do want to read it. That sounds
It's
pretty
really
cool.
good.
So the
yeah.
cool thing about that is that it's got its own kind of self-contained, self-contained
That's cool.
volume.
Because that's what it's so intimidating about comic books is that oh,
just so much.
So like, where do you
Yeah.
begin?
Yeah.
Right. Like that's why with Spider-Man when they did the like 7 years ago they rebooted Spider-Man a bit. They did Spider-Man.
They
The
rebooted
Ultimate
it.
Spider-Man or whatever,
Yeah, Ultimate, yeah.
where like Doc Ock has Spider-Man's brain
Oh,
or whatever.
Superior Spider-Man.
Spider-Man,
Superior Spider-Man.
yeah.
I was like, I almost read that. I'm like, that sounds kind of cool, right? It's
it's a
different.
cool concept.
But there's so much history that goes into it. You're like,
Yeah.
geez. And then
Even
they,
that, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
and they retcon and
Yeah, I
they
didn't
like
even get
change
into
and they,
comics from the original, like the original universe where that Stan Lee started. I got into it through the Ultimate Universe.
oh,
Ultimate Spider-Man was the first thing that I read when I was like 14 or 15 or something. It was perfect because he was 15 in the comic, so I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah, this is relatable and to an extent.
So that was the first comic you actually read was Spider-Man when you were
Like
14?
when I fully got into comics, yeah, Ultimate Spider-Man, which like it's essentially what they did was like early 2000s. Marvel was not doing very well in terms of sales,
which is so funny.
yeah, it's so weird to think about. Yeah, they were going bankrupt. That's just why they sold all their movie rights to all these different studios. 'Cause
Oh,
they're
yeah.
like, give us money because they didn't have enough through comics. And so they decided to start the Ultimate Universe, which is basically just a parallel universe where they could reboot all of their main kind of frontline characters like Spider-Man, Fantastic Four,
like
X-Men,
modernize them to
and
it.
Yeah.
modernize them. Yeah, so basically bring them to this 21st century as opposed to like taking what's already been established for 40 years. It's like forget about that. Let's just start over from scratch. It's like so it's way easier for people like
To get into it,
to
yeah.
get into, yeah. So
And then, but they also added that there are consequences in this universe. So if
Yeah.
someone dies in
Dies,
this
they're
universe,
dead.
that's it. No more coming back from the grave
Yeah.
kind of thing.
So because
then you get people like Miles because of that.
because
Because
Peter, so in the Ultimate Universe, Peter
Peter's
Parker is
dead.
just straight up dead.
Yeah.
yeah,
Wild. So is it with the multiverse Spider-Man movie? Is that what this kind of goes into a bit?
Yeah, that's kind of the idea. Yeah. Like,
Okay.
Like for Into the Spider-Verse, for example,
the
Miles
Spider-Verse,
is
yeah.
part of the Ultimate Universe, which is why in that universe Peter Parker dies.
Yeah.
He dies differently in the comics, but same idea.
yeah. That was really good comic. That was
Oh
really
yeah,
rough
it
to
was
see.
really well done, really well written.
Yeah.
The guy who wrote it just writes Spider-Man really well.
And they wrote Miles like so well. Like
Yeah.
his introduction to it like was really really well done because he's kind of like you feel like when you start reading it from like Miles's perspective, you feel like he's always been there, and you're like, oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, he's always been part of the universe.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
that, like, he's seen Spider-Man on TV. Like, he knows who he is, right? And then now he's just like, oh shit, I can stick to walls. Like,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, that's what was so cool about the Spider-Man PS4 game. One of the things was when like Miles calls you and he's like, "Hey Peter, man, like when are we gonna go out and like do Spider-Man
that was
stuff?"
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
they did a good job with their relationship because that's something you've never seen that in
Because
the
that
comics
doesn't
because
happen,
Peter's
yeah.
always dead, right? So you don't actually see
Ah.
that relationship. So the fact that they went for that and they're just going for it now with the Miles game, it's perfect because then you get to see like, oh, what does that look like with two Spider-Men in New York? Like, what does that feel like?
Yeah.
It's totally different. That's cool. That's a good way to separate yourself, but still kind of paying homage to what's already come before.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's a full game, the Miles PS5 game, because they're saying
too.
it's not a sequel. It's a
It's like a
Spin-off.
1.5 or something like
Yeah.
that.
Oh, okay.
yeah, which like I don't mind if like the combat's kind of the same and if they kind of really upgrade the graphics, but I want like a whole new story. I want
Yeah.
like still a full length campaign
I
as
think
well.
it's definitely
right?
going to be a full game in terms of like, yeah, like I think it's basically a Miles story, so I feel like that part will be established and the campaign part will be good. Maybe it won't be as long as Spider-Man PS4. Maybe it'll be like how long was that game? Like,
Don't know, it's like 14 maybe,
Yeah.
12, like the main story.
yeah, with all the side quests and stuff,
Yeah.
probably like 20 hours.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe it'll be like 14 with the
I
side quests and
guess, but
stuff.
it's gonna be $10 more expensive. So they kind of have to like throw something else in
True.
there
Whoa,
too.
is
a bit.
it?
I didn't know that.
All,
I thought it was gonna
all
be the
next gen
same.
games are $10 more.
Really?
From what I've seen, yeah,
Whoa.
2K
And-
is
and-
NBA 2K, and Call of Duty is $10 more.
I find it
comes to
brave-
90? How much?
90
$90?
Canadian.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I find it brave.
So
that they're
100 after
going-
tax, you buy the physical copy.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I find it interesting that they're going like, oh, it's not a full sequel, and it's like, all right, story wise, sure, but I would have been like, it's a full game, not a full sequel. I would have been very
That's what
loud
they
about
said.
saying.
I think
it's a
that's what
full
I think
game.
that's what
they
they're
said.
saying.
Okay,
Yeah.
But they're still charging $90 for it. Like,
Then it better be a full
Like-
game.
yeah.
They have
That's true.
That's cool.
That's true.
That'll
and
be-
it's been 2 years, so like that's you can
yeah,
do
it's a
that.
significant amount.
can do
of
that.
time.
Yeah. Well, I'm just really curious about the whole like so. If we're going back to comic games, like the thing that like Spider-Man did really well. Well, Spider-Man had loads of games, right, inspired from it. Some not so good, some absolutely amazing.
I played one on the Game Boy.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man
Oh, me too.
Game Boy Color. I think it was even made for the OG Game Boy, and it's like 2D, and you can like fight some baddies
Yeah, yeah,
on
yeah.
top of a building, do some kind of swinging around,
like
super
a-
bare bone.
Platformer.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, it's a platformer. So I just kind of remember jumping on top of skyscrapers and kind of killing some baddies.
Yeah,
really.
yeah, yeah.
And maybe sewers. And you go in the sewers a bit.
I don't think I
feel
ever
like
got that.
maybe
Like
there's
a
not
wizard and
sewers.
stuff.
Maybe.
I remember playing a Spider-Man game where you had, I think Electro was the main baddie, and it was like a platformer as well. Maybe it was for PS1 era. It was a while ago, but
Yeah.
I remember having a lot of fun with that game.
Our games have evolved.
I know.
I remember being very confused by the Game Boy one. I remember playing it. I don't think I was any good at it, but that was
I mean, you were, yeah.
yeah. And well, it's interesting how it went from that to like what we have now, which is like
Just, yeah.
so good.
Well, even like Spider-Man 2 at the time. In 2004, you're like,
Oh, yeah.
holy crap.
Especially
that
based
one-
on
Best superhero game of all time
Yep.
to that point, right?
Yeah. Well, that one I think was the first one, at least that I remember nailing the swinging. You know, swinging
Yeah.
around the city and actually feeling like, oh, this like there's a little bit of like it's not hard, but there's a little bit of skill involved. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like you have to get used to it to feel kind of pro. And I mean, this current iteration is just
Oh, they
phenomenal.
nailed
It was
That was the
heavily
best part.
influenced from the
That
Yeah.
was the
From
best
Spider-Man
part.
2.
Yeah, did you ever watch that video of the guy who showed the
Yeah.
original? Yeah, it was super cool. He showed the original designer, the Spider-Man 2 designer, or like the guy who made the mechanics for swinging. and got him to play the newest one. And you kind of see like the joy in his face.
Yeah.
It's like, oh wow, they actually used a bunch of stuff that I like originally had.
Because he
in
wasn't.
mind.
He kind of stopped being a gamer for a bit, so he was like
Yeah,
totally
he's
out
not
of
part
it,
of the industry
and then
anymore. But
Oh, wow.
but
Yeah.
now he's
I'm
so
glad
it's
that he got that
cool.
experience. That's so touching because it's like,
Yeah, you could literally like you could see the joy in his face, and he's just like, "This is amazing." It's like, dude, you started it.
yeah, and that's exactly what like when I wasn't working and you had the game. That's like that was the best stress relief. Like
It really is,
And
yeah.
and the best part that I think that they captured with the game isn't necessarily. I mean, the combat was fun and all these things were fun, but the part that I loved about this as like as a comic to game kind of transference was that in the comics and in the TV show and in the movies, they would always have that whenever Parker was stressed, he would go for a swing along the city to unwind, and you're playing the game and you can do that and it feels good and you feel like you're unwinding and it's
exactly what
like,
it feels
man,
like.
this is exactly what like they describe in all these things, and they've made it that I can experience this in a sense without actually
Yeah,
swinging
dude, that
around in
totally.
real life.
Like I always, I mean, I think Kevin has my copy of the game now. So
Kevin's got it. He has all. He has all of our games.
But like I literally I would just put it on.
I
For
might
like,
actually have my PS4. I don't know.
The real reason I'm getting the Xbox, don't have to lend games.
Yeah, true.
Sorry, Kevin.
Yeah, I put it on for like 20 minutes, and then I would just swing around. Like I don't think I'd even maybe fight a few people here and there, but mostly just the traversal. Like they nail the traversal in
Yeah.
that game. It was just so much fun, and even like the fact that you can still fast travel and you're in the subway and like.
Oh yeah, and
Those-
you're
those
like
sound
just
so
like hanging
good.
out. And
Yeah.
just
So
in
good.
The subway.
That's
yeah.
great. Like I think one of my favorite ones was when he's sitting next to a guy dressed like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That was great.
Well, it's cool because you're playing as Spider-Man, where everybody knows.
Who Spider-Man is?
Yeah,
I mean,
because they know you're Peter Parker. Do they?
No.
They
like
don't.
like the city.
Yeah, they don't.
No,
right?
no one
no,
knows.
no.
Um,
Ock figures it out at the end. That's why it's so stressful, and that's why Parker gets so
That's
upset
right.
at the end.
Yeah,
'Cause it's
that
like,
he
oh,
knew
man.
the entire time, and
Well, that the voice actor for that one is like you knew.
knew, yeah.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, get him, Spider-Man. Like, oh no, wait, it's me.
yeah, Yuri Lowenthal just killed that.
Oh, well done, that performance. But yeah, no, like,
But I think what I thought my main point that was cool was like you're walking around New York, which is actually New York. They have Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
It's actually New York City.
You
With
ever watch that
actual-
video of the guy? He was playing Spider-Man, and then he stopped at a building, and then he literally took his camera and went out his window, and there it was.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so cool.
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah,
Because-
yeah, they nailed that.
Yeah, that was super cool. That's kind of why like it'd be so neat if they like Vancouver for a
Oh.
game, right?
That'd be
Like
fun.
everyone's saying like GTA 6 should like not everyone, but I've seen videos from like IGN where it's like the coolest cities to have GTA 6, and Vancouver was one of the top
Nice.
ones.
There is a racing culture here.
Yeah, racing culture, the Sea to Sky Highway crash, right? Yeah, there definitely is. There's drugs, there's gangs, there's kind of everything you there's
Yeah,
there's a nightlife,
everything
there's
you
the
need from a
mountains.
city.
Yeah,
Oh, some mountain drifting, like.
Oh, that'd be cool.
yeah.
I think the danger is the amount of people that would inspire.
Yeah, possible.
You can do snowboarding in the game. You could do ski. Like everything you need could be in Vancouver,
Yeah.
right?
Go to Whistler.
Yeah. Drive up that see the sky, just like going like,
Yeah.
and you keep driving
Drive
off the
down
cliff. Yeah.
Great. I mean, Vancouver plays a ton of other cities, so
Yeah.
Yeah, time for
about
Vancouver to
time.
play
Yeah.
Vancouver
Exactly.
for sure.
I think you just make everyone just like just like the laid back stoners, the stoner guys, the rich posh West Vancouver people, and the
yeah.
And then
you got all your your
Yellowtown
cliques.
yogis. Yeah, there's so many like characters that
Yellowtown
GTA would be able to
yogis.
make fun of as
I
well,
like it.
right? That I guess they already kind of do with LA. LA is kind of just similar.
I think LA's too perfect for GTA.
Yeah, it's true.
I think like a racing game or something like that for Vancouver would be pretty cool.
But then everyone's gonna start racing. They're gonna
Yeah.
play it in Vancouver and then start mimicking
oh my
it.
god, yeah.
And our insurance is gonna go up. And then
No, we can't do that.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Cancel.
We're gonna influence them way too much.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so no games in Vancouver. Oh, what a shame. We
We
tried.
retract all of that.
Don't
We
listen to
tried.
us, Rockstar. So I guess in regards to the first superhero game that you guys
Ever played?
ever played, what was yours, Christian?
The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle on Sega, I think. Was that it?
Was that based on the arcade game?
Yeah.
It was
Oh,
an arcade
cool.
game, yeah. where
That was
where
probably one of the first ones too.
like
Yeah.
I just remember being like, I think it was Donatello, and you just, and it was very
Mine-
much like, oh,
Mine might have been the Game Boy version of that, actually. The Game Boy Turtles game, where it wasn't quite like that, but you play as each kind of turtle in different levels, and it's kind of
this one was
2D
more
and stuff. Yeah.
like, this was like very Street Fighter, so it would be like you, and if you had a friend, they could plug in and they'd be another one of the turtles, and you'd be like walking all janky like down this street like that was like kind
Yeah.
of scrolling along, and then these bad guys would just come out, and they would come out of like
They just jump into frame.
Yeah.
and you're like, oh,
like the old X-Men Simpsons games on the arcade where you can
Yeah,
'cause
exactly.
that's
it was just like the X-Men game on the arcade.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
It was
what's
very
that?
similar to that.
X-Men
So I was trying to
versus
figure out.
Capcom.
I think X-Men might have been the first one that I ever played,
okay.
and
I
that
didn't-
was it, the arcade version of it, because I didn't have a console, so
I
I
actually
just go to the arcade.
I actually started playing that one in high school when I got it as an emulator for my laptop.
Oh, cool, nice.
And
Yeah,
that
it was really fun.
Wicked fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool. I think I most recently played both of those games. I guess it wasn't that recent. It was like 4 years ago now.
So recent.
But I went to New York to a barcade,
Yeah.
which is like an arcade with a bar.
You don't say.
Self-explanatory. And they had both of those games, the X-Men arcade and the Ninja Turtles one. And the Ninja Turtles one was probably like the most fun I've had in years playing that game, because like just random people would just come in and
Yeah.
join. It's like, oh, I'm gonna play a character now. That's the best part. You can do that. Can't do that anymore, man. It sucks. But yeah, I think it might have been the X-Men one. I think that was probably the first one that I ever.
Well, like I'm looking back on like consoles I played growing up, right? First was Genesis. Don't think I played anything on that was superhero related. N64, Superman 64 is the one that comes to mind, but I never played that, thankfully. Right?
I wish I had played that.
I kinda
I feel
wish
like I
just
do
to
want to.
know.
We have to.
Just to
Just to
know.
know.
Let's get the emulator on your computer. I'm
We
curious. Let's do it.
should. Yeah.
That'd be pretty fun.
That would be fun.
That would have been great
Yeah.
research.
Because I feel like with superhero games, you kind of need a certain amount of like horsepower to really kind of get it. You know, right?
Like horsepower in terms of.
Like I feel like you kind of almost need a bit of an open world to really kind of get the full experience. I'm
Maybe.
thinking like your Arkham, not open world, right? Because your
you got
Arkham wasn't open world until the third one.
Well, Arkham City kind of.
I guess it was open world, yeah.
Yeah.
But even then, Arkham
Well,
Asylum
it was Open
was
City, really.
open. It was open like concept. It was an open concept, Arkham Asylum, right?
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2, although I guess Spider-Man 1 was really good on the PlayStation X.
Was
and
it?
The first one, yeah. It's actually very critically... Not the movie. The movie Spider-Man game was pretty
Oh,
crap.
that's what I was thinking. I was
No,
like,
they made
that
one
was pretty bad.
on the PlayStation and N64 and Dreamcast and maybe PC.
Oh, I know what you're
back in the
talking
late
about.
90s. That was
Didn't you
the
play that?
I
kick-ass.
did play
As a
that.
kid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I played
that
on
one's
my
supposed to be
yeah,
very
yeah.
good,
That was
yeah.
really good.
You,
Yeah.
you actually had a story about like swinging on nothing. Like
Yeah,
there's
you don't
nothing
swing on
above you.
anything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
and
just
it's
swing.
like because there's a bunch of gas and stuff underneath you, so you don't even see the bottom of the building. So like the buildings are literally just floating in midair almost, and so are you. Yeah, I do remember that. They were those were great. It was one of the first Spider-Man games with cutscenes.
Yeah, and they
With
actually
actual
had...
cutscenes.
It started with... I saw a video on it. Stan Lee doing like
Yeah,
the
the narration.
narration of it
Yeah.
and stuff, right?
Yeah, and like Black
yeah.
Cat was in there. She had really big boobs because it was the 90s and
Superhero.
Just like the
Just
triangle,
giant, yeah.
the Tomb Raider.
It's like, I feel what's going on. Like
I
feel
feel
bad for her.
things.
Yeah.
9-year-old Annie was. Yes,
to
I don't know how I feel
feelings.
right now. It's like I'm Spider-Man 2. This feels great.
My spider sense is tingling.
Yeah, that was a good
Yeah,
game.
because I'm looking back in the '90s. I can't think of any games that kind of jump out on those. Even for the first Xbox, nothing. Spider-Man 2 was probably the first game that I really
Yeah.
played that really kind of got into, because they never really had any good Batman games.
They had some pretty bad ones.
They did, yeah.
Did you ever know they made a Batman Begins game? Like based
Did
on
they?
Batman Begins?
They did.
Yeah.
Man, that now would be amazing. Could you imagine that right now? Oh.
Like if they made a Batman Begins game right now?
Oh, sorry, I'm thinking Beyond. Sorry.
Oh, dude, no, that would be sweet. No, they never made a
My
Batman
bad.
Beyond. No.
You said Begins, and I'm just like, yeah, Batman Beyond would be so cool.
Thanks for listening.
Blanked. I'm trying to listen, okay?
Oh,
That's all I ask. Just try.
Because those movie
I'm
games,
working on it.
they're so tied to their own like story
That's-
and the
Mm.
length. They can only be so long.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Especially
movie
back
games
then.
always are terrible.
Yeah,
Because like, did they always kind of just follow the steps of the film?
Most
pretty much.
Because
Yeah,
that's kind of like, have you ever seen like there are actual like novels that will follow what happened in the film.
Yeah.
And it's just what happened in the
Like a
film. It's like I could
novelization,
just
yeah.
watch this. Like I thought this was going to give me something else,
Yeah.
something extra, right?
I think
Or-
now there's a bit more.
Well, they even
to
do that
it.
with some games and stuff. I remember like the Assassin's, like there was an Assassin's Creed one. I'm like, oh, that's cool because back then I was into
Yeah.
like I really enjoyed the game, especially like the first one was like, oh wow, introduced me to a culture I'd never thought about.
Right.
Yeah,
it was just
researching
unique
it.
and different.
So I saw the book. I'm like, oh cool. I wonder if like what they're gonna tell me, like because it kind of built
and there's a
into
huge
this
lore
mystery.
into it, right?
Yeah,
And all
exactly.
Assassin's Creed. And
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, this is
Templars.
super exciting because like at this point, I don't think the second one had come out yet, so I bought it. Oh no, the second one had just come out, so I bought this, and it was exactly the same as the game. I'm like, why would I read this when I just played it? Like
And
I
what
wanted
was-
to give me something new,
And that the first game was you just killing like the different like dudes. There wasn't much of a story really.
Well, there was when you listen to like why they did this, and it was all this kind of mystery. They're all doing it for this like piece of Eden,
it
and,
was
and you're
mostly
like,
about
what
the
is it?
lore, not necessarily like a plot.
Yeah.
I guess more world building stuff. I would say.
Yeah. I mean, like if game wise, it was just like go here, kill this, come back, and it was very much repeat, which people found frustrating, understandably.
Right.
I was just more drawn into the whole like
Culture.
culture.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see more of this, and
Yeah,
I
you
started
never saw
researching
like,
about
a Middle
Damascus and stuff like that, and it's
Eastern
like,
that kind of vibe. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's like game's greatest potential is to introduce people to
Dude,
cultures.
Prince of Persia.
Yeah.
remake coming out
Remake?
now.
God.
Yeah.
I mean,
Did you
that's
watch
exciting.
that?
I haven't seen it yet. No, I was never a
Just
big.
don't
I played
bother.
Prince of Persia. Oh, it's not very good.
I don't know. Like, see, this is the thing. Like, if you're gonna remake it, just do it.
Do
like,
something.
Do something.
Yeah,
with
like
it
you have to
properly.
reimagine it almost.
Like, if just take so like Prince of Persia is a great idea, right? And it clearly did very well. It was a really fun game. I remember playing it. And
It was a
awesome.
huge IP back in the
Yeah.
2000s. It was
And
one of
they
the
tried
biggest
to
ones.
reboot it for like the PS3 and
Ooh,
Xbox
yeah, it was.
era, and that did not work.
Yeah,
And so
good
they went
game,
ba-
but yeah,
it was. I actually enjoyed it. I like the style too. Like the
It was
art
a
style
cool-
was
it was a
kind of
cool
different.
style,
yeah. But they just kind of whitewashed the Prince of Persia, so that didn't work.
that was the times of 2010. That was just
Yeah.
what you did.
Yeah, that's what I guess that's what you did. Yeah, and then they brought it back when the movie came out, but like they didn't make a movie-based game. They just made a Prince of Persia game.
They did.
Yeah, it was called Forgotten Sands.
Oh.
That was actually really good. It
I
actually
think I played some of that.
It was good. Yeah, I remember playing it, and it was a lot of fun. And so when I heard that, well, today, literally, when they announced the remake, I was like, oh, like that means they're just going to go back to the original and then just kind of build it up from scratch. And nah, it's just the original.
I kind of wish like you're right, like they just like announced it as we're gonna do something with this,
Yeah.
like something new, an added part to the story or the next generation of the story. And now, like especially because of people taking thankfully much more serious, that it's like not to whitewash characters. Like
Right.
this
Yeah.
is like literally
They
like
did a really good
Persians,
job with it, even
so-
originally. So it's like, okay, you already, like, that's
Oh yeah,
why it's
Jake
so
Gyllenhaal
popular.
played him in the movie.
Oh, I remember that and being like, ooh,
Yeah.
cool. And even back then, it was kind of like, this is a little awkward. Like,
Yeah, Persia. It's in the name.
yeah, I mean, it's guys, come on.
Yeah. But it's weird. It's been 10 years since I looked it up. 10 years since the last Prince of Persia game. Ubisoft, they're so weird. Splinter Cell, it's been like 7 years.
Yeah.
Like they have these IPs and they're just like
I don't understand, man. Like
It's
keep,
fine.
and they keep releasing new IPs. But then what about the IPs
Yeah.
that you've already announced? You
Well,
know?
exactly.
I don't mind that.
Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Yeah. I don't mind that if it's something like we don't know what to do with it yet, but I am a little surprised that in 10 years they haven't thought of something with these
Just like
things.
think harder.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and then they've got like the Assassin's Creed thing, right?
Yeah,
Which they
and that's where all the
butcher.
resources are going to,
Yeah,
right?
and that's like, okay, guys, stop. Like, I am tired of Assassin's Creed. Like, please
yeah,
do
to start some
something
new
else.
IPs, which
Yeah.
they have, and then they just kind of abandon them. It's like what happened to Skull and Bones? Was that the other thing that they were working on, which is like the
Yeah.
pirate game?
Oh
'Cause
yeah.
they took the ship mechanic from Assassin's Creed. And they're
Was
like,
that ever
"Let's just-"
released?
Nope. Again, this is what I mean. And then they announced another new IP today, which was for
really?
it's like I guess like adventure sports kind of thing.
Okay.
That seems a bit more like less
Its own
AAA,
kind of thing,
and it's
yeah.
kind of more open. I guess more battle royale esque. It's not battle royale, but more along the lines of that. So I guess it doesn't need a lot of resources, but still, like you can put a lot of like they have so many studios now. They have like 12 or 13 different studios across the world, and they're all working on sometimes the same thing, sometimes different things, whatever that may be. But you've got so many IPs, just do something with it.
Yeah, and I feel like with making new IPs, I feel like there's a lot of companies that aren't making enough new IPs. So it's like, okay, it's cool they're doing that. It's awesome. But I feel like I just want a new Splinter Cell game, man. That was, growing up, those were my favorite games.
Did you play the co-op on Splinter Cell? I love that this was meant to be like a comic book thing, and now it's taking.
I was about to say we'll go back to the main point, but
Do you remember playing like the co-op in like not the last one? But the one before?
It's the games I played were Chaos Theory.
Yes,
that one was awesome.
Yeah.
A bit of Pandora Tomorrow. I think I had it on PC. I played a bit of that, but Chaos Theory was the shit.
That was yes.
Double Agent was super cool too, because you actually play as a double agent. So you're actually go into this like evil like bad guys like corporation, right? The company, and you're actually recruited as one of their like henchmen and guys, right? So you do all this stuff for them, but you're undercover with yeah, exactly. And then I think at a certain point you kind of pick
Switch out.
who you kind of want to. It was
You
super
gotta-
cool.
yeah.
It was so awesome.
I remember that being like you got to kind of balance out like if one side doesn't trust you enough, then the mission's over, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of have to balance like, oh crap, I can't do all the things for this guy, so you have to compromise
That's
on something.
so good.
It was
And
awesome.
I think
yeah.
the part that was at least my personal favorite was they would leave you at the bad guy's base, and there'd be a time limit of how long until you're going to get called into something, right? And in that time limit, you could explore the base, and if you had the opportunity, plant bugs and stuff
Yeah.
for your
Oh,
side.
that's brilliant.
Which, if you're, some people actually found that it was like that part was too easy. Me, because I'm paranoid and stressed as hell, I was like, instead and not thinking about game mechanics, I was thinking about like, what if like they hear me or whatever. Instead of thinking about game mechanics, it was like, oh no, I've tested the boundaries. I know how far I can push
Yeah.
it. And just
Right.
I'll just push it and go. You know, I was like, oh no, but I think because I was trying not to get seen or knock anyone out, because I'm like, of course, if I knock someone out, then they're going to think something's up. I think apparently you could knock people out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how dumb would that be? Like if someone's
Don't
like,
they have
"Man,"
cameras everywhere?
Yeah, exactly.
They're like,
and it's like, man, everyone's been knocked out except for you, Sam.
That's
It's like,
hilarious.
I don't know.
Oh, man.
Where
But
is
still,
he?
It was still a really good, I think, idea as like the whole thing that you get to hang around in their base.
Especially back in like 2006, I think, on the Xbox 360, the graphics were insane. They were really
Yeah.
cool. And then it was Conviction was the next one, I think.
Yeah.
And that one got a bit too climby, platformy, guns ablazing a bit.
Oh.
Yeah, it got a
Not about the stealth.
like they had a bit of stealth, but it became a bit more like guns ablazing a bit.
We
you
got to
know?
play Chaos Theory, but co-op, because that game co-op,
Yeah.
so fun.
That was one of that game actually had a really cool online play.
Yeah.
Because you played as, this was on the first Xbox, so it would have been like 12, but you played as like either these mercenaries with like big like armor and giant guns, and then the other team played as the Splinter Cells.
Oh,
Right? So
cool.
they're
it kinda
hiding, they're
switched
trying
out,
like,
yeah.
so you could like hide up in this like little pipe, and then like a mercenary would like walk under you, and then you just like grab them or whatever, drop down and
that's
like
cool.
choke them out. It was super cool.
So you're not as well equipped, so you have to like be more stealthy, right? And it's
Right.
just, I
Yeah,
remember
it was
playing
super
that.
cool. I was like 12, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so cool.
My brother and I recently tried to, well, not very recently, obviously, but like well after, I'm fairly certain that the servers had closed, had tried to like jump into one just to see if they were open, and
Yeah.
we were very disappointed. We just ended
For
up,
Chaos Theory?
yeah.
Because I guess you could play it on Xbox 360.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's probably backwards compatible.
I hope so.
I feel like I played it on the 360 because I had it on the Xbox. Obviously,
I think we played on the 360 as well. Yeah.
Yeah, my parents have one for my nephew. My nephew. They
Oh, nice.
actually superhero related. They just got my nephew Marvel Lego superheroes.
Good pullback.
Yeah, look at this. Natural transitions. What are we doing? Well, look at this. Yeah, he's 6. Yeah, he's 6, and he's teaching my dad how to play it.
That's awesome.
Like it's ridiculous, right? That's a great game too. I never really played it, but amazing reviews I got back in like 2013.
Oh, and you can choose like out of like
there's
loads
like
and
100.
loads of
Yeah.
heroes and stuff, and they all have like a different kind of mechanic, right? Like to play around.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And those Lego games are they're all pretty high quality.
They're really good,
right?
Yeah.
It can go as like Deadpool. I feel like Deadpool and a Lego like video
That
game would
sounds
be
so
pretty
dangerous.
hilarious.
That sounds so dangerous.
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be great if it was like the one Lego game that's like 18 plus. You know, is the Deadpool Lego game?
Yeah.
Because he's the only one.
And
That's
it's the same, but
self-aware.
just the Deadpool missions, he just like says the bad words.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly the same. He's just like, you know, beheading people, which is nothing abnormal in Lego.
Yeah.
But it's like, but swearing as he does
Yeah.
it, and you just have Ryan Reynolds like do. Yeah, you could just have like a PG like unlock
like a
thing.
toggle, yeah.
A toggle, yeah. Where you have to put your parental code in to
You
unlock
have to
it.
like take a picture so it knows how old your face is or whatever.
Did you guys ever play the Deadpool game?
No, I didn't. It got kind of average reviews when it came out. And
it
stuff,
didn't.
So.
It didn't do that well, and I guess it wasn't like a AAA title or anything like that.
Because that was before the first Deadpool movie, so the IP was
so.
it
Yeah,
wasn't
and most
where
people
it
didn't
was.
really know about it.
It looked
Great
fun.
game. It was really fun.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It was pretty fun. Like literally the first level is you're just in his apartment and you do like a bunch of random shit just around his apartment. Like he calls up the video game developer, like the head of the company developing the video game, and gives him tips, and he's like, oh yeah, you should add this and you should add this, and he's like, we don't have the budget for this, you realize that, right? And then he calls up the voice actor for the game.
That's funny.
And then he can take like giant shits because he's Deadpool. And then you go to his room and he's got like a blow up doll and all this it's very Deadpool.
That's
basically.
cool.
I remember the level where he starts like tripping out, because you remember in the comics where like this bunny or something and things would get all colorful. I don't remember if
Yeah.
it was a bunny, but like something like he's batshit. So like the comic panels he would just hallucinate these weird things, and they added that to the game, and it just became like almost like for a moment a completely different game, like with all these colors and crazy stuff. And like,
one of the best parts of the game was so like it's the same thing of like he'll go through a level, right, and then the level just turns 8-bit, and he's like, what the fuck is this?
Wow.
And then he calls up the guy in charge of the game, and he's like, yeah, you blew up all of our budget, so we can't actually it's so good.
That's so
they,
good.
They got really clever with it, so it was great. And he broke the fourth wall all the time,
Yeah.
so it was a fun one.
Yeah, it sounds like a perfect. I feel like if that game came out now, it would do so
So
well.
well.
Yeah.
It was
ahead
just
of
like
its
5
time.
years to
yeah.
to early, because it came out like 2012, 2013,
Something like that, 2012,
and
I
then
think,
2014 is when the Deadpool movie released.
Yeah.
So like they
Right,
just
yeah,
like
just
missed it.
missed that
Ahead of its
train.
time.
Yeah.
And then like the game came out, and then the studio that made the game disbanded. So
What
they
a
didn't make back the
shame.
money. Yeah.
Oh.
Super shitty, because a really cool, good studio too. They made all the not all the Transformers movie games, but like the War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron.
Okay.
Great games as well.
The good Transformer
the good
games?
ones. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So they were a really good studio.
That makes you feel bad.
Yeah, it's really shitty. I think they still made like another Transformers movie, like based on the movie after that, which also didn't do terribly because they already had kind of mechanics that they built originally. But still, just not the same.
I think that kind of like brings home like the idea, like the reason that worked well, especially for fans of Deadpool, like, and how they would have,
Yeah.
man, if they had waited 2 more years, that would have been amazing. But like what made it work for people who are fans of the comics is they really understood the character, kind of like with Spider-Man swinging around and Deadpool's jokes and sense of humor and kind of like ridiculousness, and they played into it. The fact that he breaks the fourth wall allowed them to also break the fourth wall with the player as well, and just kind of like mess with the idea. It's like, with budget and stuff like that. So clever.
There's a part where he kind of ends up in an explosion and then falls like a bunch of levels down, and then his head is like backwards, and he has to, or does he have to? Oh, I think he has to like find his head or some shit like that, right?
Okay.
And so yeah, I'm pretty sure his head is backwards, and he has to find something. And because his head is backwards, he can actually see where he's going. So your controls are reversed. So
That's
you have to
fun.
actually go reverse instead of forward
That's cool.
and shit like that. So they really had fun with it. You could tell.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like that. Like that's a great fundamental understanding of their character.
That's
and
a game.
how to mess
That's
with
a
the
game they
gameplay
should
because of
remake.
it. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That would be great. That would be really cool. There's so much potential, right? So, because I remember when they announced that game too, they like psyched people out. They put up a website and they announced it as a hip monkey game, and everyone's like, what
Hip
So
Monk?
that's a character from comics, from like he's one of like Deadpool's enemies and villains. He's a monkey, literally a hip monkey. Self-explanatory. He's a monkey who kills people. And then everyone was like, well, okay, I guess you could make a game around that. And then they were like, no, it's just a Deadpool game. And they're like, oh, yeah, we should have
Nice.
seen that one. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh. It's like, not the reaction we wanted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man. But, like, did they... I don't remember if they had, like, the regeneration thing that they had. Because, like, one of the games that brought me back into, like, superhero games was Wolverine.
Right.
Wolverine Origins. Which
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, they did a good
Movie-based game. Because they didn't do
game.
anything that happened in the movie. They were
Yeah,
like,
exactly,
we're just
because they
gonna do our own
completely
thing.
ignored
Oh
the-
yeah, that was a pretty
Actually,
bad
they
movie.
still kind of did what happened in the movie, but then
But,
they were like,
eh.
we're just kind of gonna go off and like just reference what happens in the movie, but then completely do our own thing.
Yeah.
Which is perfect.
And I loved the whole, like, how your health bar was really how damaged your body was.
Yeah.
And how you would, like, the unlockables were all, like, the different Wolverine costumes and how, like, those would get destroyed as you would take damage and those wouldn't come back, but you would see, like, the skin heal.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, they
and
were really
you could see the
clever.
adamantium bones when pieces get shot off. And I'm like, wow. I mean, obviously not as gory as I imagine, like, we could get now, because it was very much like, oh, they just like I don't know.
Yeah, just like
the
a-
texture would become invisible,
Sure.
right? In
Ooh,
Spot.
imagine a Wolverine game now,
Now.
like
That'd be
PS5.
amazing.
Fuck, that'd be
It'd be like
sweet.
Sekiro.
Oh yeah, Shadows Die.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be
I mean,
sick.
even Deadpool, because at least Deadpool could actually lose limbs and they would
Yeah.
have to
And to
regrow,
go
right?
grab them was
That'd be
super cool.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was kind of going to one of my next points. I guess where do you see superhero games kind of going in the future, right? If you go back to like PS1, Xbox times as well, you're kind of really in these small areas, right? They're based in a movie. You're kind of in corridors. It's kind of small kind of
Except for
environments,
Contained.
right?
Except for the recent like Arkham series, like Arkham Knight and Arkham City.
Oh yeah, I'm talking about before then.
Oh,
so I'm
before
saying
then,
yeah.
right.
So and
oh,
then,
like where we're heading now, using that as like the beginning of the timeline kind of thing.
yeah, because you had that, and then you moved to Arkham Asylum, where it was kind of open concept. Even Spider-Man 2 kind
Spider-Man,
of
yep.
open area, right? And then
Right.
to
has to be right.
Arkham Knight, right? Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
All these games in these kind of open worlds. I guess, do you guys see it kind of evolving kind of beyond there to even maybe like an Infinity War type of thing, where it's so many, where these giant
Set pieces
giant
kind of thing.
wars,
Yeah.
Right.
where it's like 100 versus 100, and actual real life people playing it,
Yeah.
right? Like in each
That
yeah.
could be interesting. That could be cool.
Yeah.
I think it firmly depends on the character that you choose, right? Like if you want to make a game about the Flash, right? Like that would be something where you would need a racing open world kind of thing, like almost like just a racing game concept in my mind, like something that makes you really
Have
enjoy
you ever
the
seen
speed.
the Flash demo that they had? They had a game in
Yeah,
progress
yeah.
kind of thing. Super cool.
But that wasn't that made by a fan or something that used...
No, it was actually being developed for
Oh.
real. Yeah, and then it just got the plug pulled on them, as so many games.
So many superhero games.
Yeah, there's so many. Like the Avengers one too by
THQ.
yes, THQ. Yeah, there was like a first-person Avengers game that looked interesting.
I think ultimately like did that go for racing elements or something?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it was like, I think the way they described it was like road rage or road rash.
Road Rash.
Right.
Oh, I once got a road rash.
Yeah, fuck.
I don't know.
So yeah, it's like Road Rash meets Spider-Man. Like, it's like
Yeah.
an open world, but then you can, and then they also have like modes in the games where you can race other speedsters.
Nice.
So you're a speedster, there's another speedster, and you can race and like punch them and shit like that.
That sounds.
And I mean,
yeah.
literally with dimension hopping with the Flash, you can be facing other Flashes, right? Like,
Exactly.
so
Yeah. So there's so much potential. Yeah,
So basically
I
like a
really-
Fall Guys, but with like the flat.
That'd be amazing. But like, yeah, with like
Really
weird
fast.
tunnels and super fast and
Just
yeah,
chaos.
just that sensation of like,
Like you can
that'd
get so
be
creative
fun.
with those levels, though, man. Like those levels can get super trippy and weird because it's all like hyperspace and like
Yeah.
Oh, and you could even have like this thing where you can temporarily phase.
Go
so you
through
can go
shit.
through stuff, but you have to time it perfectly. If not, you're
Exactly.
like,
then
you know,
just crash
it's just-
into the wall.
yeah, exactly,
yeah.
or blow up inside the
inside
wall.
the wall. Yeah.
Well, and like that's the problem, I guess, as you said, kind of with these, if they make these giant superhero games, because
It'll be
they all have to
character-based.
have
Yeah.
different controls, right?
It'll
Like,
be,
yeah.
It's always character based.
And they all have different themes. Like with the current Batman that they're doing, they want to make that more a horror detective kind of thing, right? Like
Oh,
that's
the
more-
movie?
the
Yeah,
movie,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, and I'm like, that's good because that's kind of like the character's roots, and that's kind of what makes that character special to kind of go with, right?
Yeah.
Is the fact that he is a detective. So let's
Yeah,
go
it's
with that.
more of that noir.
Let's go with
feeling.
that noir kind of sensation, right? And the same with games is
Well,
depending
that's
on
what
the character.
Telltale did that really well with their Batman series.
I still gotta play that.
That was really good. It was very much noir detective based because they're
Well, it's about decisions and
yeah,
stuff.
it's all about
yeah.
decision making. Yeah, and there was a bit of combat in there, but mostly quick time events and stuff like that. But it was mostly about like the actual detective part of him.
I think I have it saved on my hard drive because it was PS Plus a while back.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's how I played it. Yeah, it was pretty good.
But see, like that's a good way to explore it. So open world, or especially like if you're thinking more cosmic scale, like that would be something to have. That's where the Avengers to me comes in. Like this game that's out. That would be kind of the point to have a more open world kind of like with your friends and then people can choose the enemies too, so you can have a full on
Yeah, I have
or
a feeling
the
that-
Civil War concept where you can have like, all right, if you choose these heroes or these heroes and you can face off against each other, like a battle royale kind of superhero thing. That would be kind of cool too. But then it depends on which characters you're choosing, because you can't like doing a side scroller now with I don't know, Thor would just kind of feel like a wasted character with like an odd concept, right? But doing I don't know, yeah, like doing a corridor game as Batman, I think would still work today, because aside from all these cool graphics, maybe by not needing to put in all the resources into this crazy huge open world, we can like tailor something that's much more of that sensation of being
Close
close and
Yeah.
tight and being like, okay, now we got to be
Claustrophobic.
clever, we got to think about it, we got to observe what's going on, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a good point, because I feel like no, it's true, because games nowadays they're kind of knowing they're more accurate to, even art in general is more accurate to the characters. As you said, Batman is, right? Spider-Man is as well now. They're not just these giant puff pieces to try and get everyone to like them, so they kind of give up what the character really is.
Yeah.
Like back with like the Batman Robin Batman games and all these
Yeah,
other things
yeah.
as well, right? So
I think that's the thing
That's a
with
good
the,
point.
which is why I call like this Avengers game relatively ambitious, because I think that is something that they could be leading up to, like the Infinity War style, or maybe not in this version of it, because they are like, the idea is that to keep expanding the world that they have currently built, right? And so they're going to add like, oh, you can go to Wakanda and there'll be like a specific story based in Wakanda, and then Hawkeye's going to have his own specific story, and then, maybe you'll have an opportunity to go to Asgard, so like Thor will have his own specific. I'm just guessing. I don't know if this will actually be the case, but that is the potential that this game holds, to be able to do stuff like that. And then you could start introducing like, oh, the Fantastic Four, and they're always traveling the multiverse, so you can do more multiversal stuff. And then you got Doctor Strange, who's more about like the other realms and that kind of shit. So there's a lot of potential to do stuff like that. I mean, I know Rocksteady's making the Suicide Squad game, which is also open world, and I don't know how that works as a Suicide Squad game, which I'm just intrigued to see. I was just really hoping that they'd do a Ninja Turtles one. Like
that'd be so cool. A modern day.
A
Why haven't
modern-day
they done
Ninja
that?
Turtles.
A modern day Turtles.
That would be so
That sounds
cool.
so cool.
I hope
As a
someone's
game,
listening
They
to
got
this.
to. They got to.
And
They're probably
with-
working on it. Little do we
with
know.
four-player
Yeah, I fucking
multiplayer,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah.
Like,
They-
But like
that's one where they
story
have
driven,
to, yeah.
and like kind of darker. Maybe go back to the roots of the comics, because like the comics
Yeah.
were dark, right? Like they were not for kids. People were getting stabbed and their heads were cut off and shit like that. Like
Have you seen the Turtles TV show on Netflix, the cartoon, the new one?
The 2D or the 3D
The
one?
2D one? Is there like Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
The newest is Ben Schwartz voices one
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
turtles.
he's Leo, right?
So
yeah.
that's the 2D one,
That's
right?
the 2D
Yeah,
one.
Okay,
my,
I haven't
uh,
seen it.
My nephew's watching it. It's pretty funny. I think John Cena even voices someone in
Yeah,
it.
he's the main baddie.
Yeah.
Oh, wicked!
Yeah,
That's
it's like, oh, this
so
is pretty
funny.
cool. And like Ben Schwartz is he's a funny
Oh, Ben
guy,
Schwartz
too.
is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not bad. Like it's definitely for kids. They definitely like their audience is probably like 6 to 10 or whatever.
Yeah.
The
It's
animation's
still
really
fun.
good. The animation's super well done. The 2012 series was really, really good.
Yes.
That was
one, yeah.
actually well written, and they kind of aged it up as they went along. They had like
That's
5 or 6 seasons, I think, and so like I guess they could tell that okay, you know what, the people who are watching this aren't.
Well, that was always
this-
the coolest thing when you
Exactly,
were a kid when
yeah.
you did that, right?
It's like
'Cause
you
felt like
started
it
off
grew
as
with
like
you.
a 12-year-old,
Yes.
and now at the end of the series, you're 15, 16. You know, like you're not thinking about the same things you were when you were 12, and so they
Yeah.
actually age up the show along with the viewer. That's perfect.
More April O'Neil, you know?
You remember going to?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
As like a.
Triceratons, yeah. Yeah, no one knew it. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like the guy who was showing it to us was like, oh, and then we're doing this and this and this, but like you can't tell anybody. And then most people were just like, we don't know what the hell we're looking at, except for the two of us, and we're like, I know exactly what
Yeah.
that is, and that's definitely not in this current season. So it's probably like the next few seasons. And he was like, yeah, it's coming, and I was like,
Can't
sweet.
wait.
Sweet.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, but
That
that's
was
the
super
thing. Like, I
exciting.
really would love to see a modern day Ninja Turtles game because that's potential.
And that would have to like have like with as with Daredevil and stuff like good scaling, good
Yeah.
like the whole thing with being a Ninja Turtle is I think the emphasis on
Ninja.
stealth and traversal, with some kick-ass like flashy moves that feel powerful would just be amazing. And like, you know, having to duck out into like the sewers, and
yeah.
having to avoid getting caught, because that was like a big thing even like for the TV shows and the comics, was they couldn't be seen by the regular people, right?
Yeah.
So having to try and fight away and out of sight, I think that'd be a really fun kind of
Yeah, and like traversal could be really interesting because then you know you've got like characters like Mikey. He's a skateboarder, so you can use the skateboard mechanic to get around the city
that
or
is
around
so
the
cool.
sewers and stuff like that, right?
Oh.
So there's a lot of potential there, and even gameplay or combat based. It's like
Yeah, like
they're each
like
got their
Leo
own
could be all like
weapons.
detective-y and stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Yeah, Raph
Donatello
is clearly the brawler.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. He's the one you send in as a tank kind of
Yeah,
guy.
he's the
I think
tank.
even Donatello, like with his staff, could like leap over tall, like larger
Yeah.
gaps than the rest could, because he can use it
Exactly.
as like a vaulting
Yeah.
kind of pole. And that would just be
You can do like hacking mini games and stuff.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, get like some Watchdog stuff kind of thing in there with Donnie, and then
and having that as a thing where, like, if you're playing and you can invite, I can understand like with a game like this that would be more open world, a little bit bigger, that quartering your screen would be a bad idea, but having that it can split into two, so you know,
at
like
least
I can come over
a lot.
here,
Yeah.
we could play, and because it's PlayStation to PlayStation, then you could jump on at home and invite like Tony or Kevin or whoever wants to come over, right, and play. So then that way each of us has a turtle,
yeah,
and
It's two,
we've
two.
got
Yeah.
and then it's 2-2, and then luckily at
And
least
we're all
that way-
fighting for it to be Michelangelo, right? No, I'm Mikey. I'm Mikey. I act more like Mike. No, I like pizza more than you do.
Definitely
No,
the
I'm
Mike
Mikey.
here.
That's every turtle's argument.
Oh my god, the leveling up system would have to be like everyone takes a slice of pizza and that's what gives them their stats.
that'd be great.
Oh, that'd be
Yeah.
so good.
Oh.
Or like that's how you save or something like
We're just giving out these ideas. Like we should be.
Yeah,
starting-
come on,
take
guys.
him, man.
It's
Someone
called-
take him.
I'm
Make a
happy
game.
for someone to take him. Just let us voice some civilians in
Yeah.
the background. That would be amazing. Having this very discussion, it's like, man,
Man,
Yeah.
I wish there was this.
yeah, that'd be great. Or
Yeah.
or making our own
Yeah.
ads on it.
Or just be the pizza guy. I would love
Oh.
to be the pizza guy.
Oh, for sure.
It's
Oh,
like
for
the
sure, that'd be
classic line
awesome.
from the first movie. It's like, pizza guy's got 30 minutes, dude.
I was at my parents' place with my nephew, and he really wanted to watch the Turtles 1992.
Yeah, the
The
OG.
Secret of the Ooze.
Oh, the Zen
Oh.
one, yeah.
And my mom was like, "No, that's too old. That's not
Oh my
appropriate.
God.
Like
With
that."
Vanilla Ice? That's too
And I'm like, I guess like that is like That's like me wanting to watch a movie from like 1980. No,
Yeah, that's-
more than that. No, from 1970, I think, relatively to him.
As a kid or
As a kid.
right.
I'm like,
But-
but
I don't know, man. Those movies were based for kids. Like,
Yeah.
I guess. But I
the
think
first movie is definitely a bit more like hardcore, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
The second one, they just
Toned it
babied
down.
the shit out of that movie.
Yeah.
They don't even use their weapons in that movie.
Oh, really? That's so lame.
Because they can't. Because they're like, oh, yeah, we're getting too many complaints from parents, so they stopped.
That's one that has Shredder and Kevin Nash, the wrestler, plays Shredder in that one
Oh.
because he's 7
like
feet tall.
Super Shredder.
Super Shredder, yeah.
Nice.
So how do they beat him with no weapons? They just like
Well, he has no
Pizza.
weapons too. You see.
Yeah, just have a slice at the end. I don't remember actually. I don't remember how they beat him. I think he just gets drowned by ooze.
that's the secret.
That's
Wow.
okay. He wasn't sliced. He was drowned. You know, like how the mafia used to get rid of
Got
people.
pushed by a
That's
garbage
fine
compactor
though.
in the first one. Dude, Casey Jones literally murdered Shredder in the first movie by
Really?
pressing the garbage compactor button, and he just gets smashed. Yeah.
God.
Then he comes back in the second one.
Secret
that's
of the
Super
Ooze.
Shredder.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger and grow a couple of feet.
I wonder if they've made like a TMT like porn parody of
Oh, they definitely have.
The Secret of the
Dude,
Ooze.
Rule 30, what is it? Rule 32?
34?
34. Anything that
I don't
exists has porn of it. Have you ever seen the Robot Chicken one with the Ninja Turtles, where like Shredder and April have like this secret romance going on?
No, that sounds fun though.
It's so good. It's good. You should check it out.
I haven't watched much of Robot. That's one of the shows I just never really watched. Robot.
I
Chicken.
never
But
watched
when I
the
see
sh-
it, I like it.
Yeah, I never watched
Yeah,
the
yeah.
show. It's just more like YouTube.
Yeah, every time I see a
clips.
clip of it, I'm like, oh, this is great.
You just go down that.
I like the
rabbit
Star
hole.
Wars stuff they do with that.
The Star Wars stuff is good. The DC superhero ones are also
Those
really
ones are really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gorilla Grodd's probably my favorite. He's just like this.
Like the emotionally
Yeah.
open. I love
yeah,
him.
the
It's
emotionally
so good.
open talking gorilla is great. Who's trying to be a millennial but clearly isn't.
So good.
It's a good time. Yeah, it's pretty fun. I dig it.
I played tomorrow. I'm borrowing Iron Man VR from Matt.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I'm pretty stoked on that. I played the demo.
Do you continue the Darth Vader one?
No, I haven't played any since we played it. I want to, but dude, setting up the VR is such a pain. I gotta change the
Yeah, it's a
HDMI. I gotta
process.
put the camera up. I gotta put on the controllers. I gotta adjust. I gotta
the table.
configure the controllers. I gotta move the bloody table. I can't do it by myself, and I gotta scratch the carpet. So Anne's gotta help me.
Yeah.
It's a whole process, right? But the Iron Man VR is pretty cool. I played the demo. Pretty fun. You do feel like Iron Man. You're flying around. You got the jetpack. You got to kind of control it.
That's cool.
Fly through rings, not like Superman 64 and stuff, right? So, yeah, it's fun. So I'm excited to play the full game, and the action seems to be pretty good. But I feel like VR is not quite there yet. I was impressed by the Star Wars one. The Darth Vader VR, I was actually pretty impressed by that. The lightsaber combat was cool.
Yeah, that felt pretty good.
But I feel like VR isn't quite. It's old. The PSVR is like a 4-year-old technology as well, right? So I
Yeah.
feel like compared to the,
Do you think they're gonna make a newer version of that?
they have to for
Yeah.
PS5 make it wireless or have a wireless option. It probably couldn't be like 4K if it's wireless, but they have to have that. Have some like sensors in the back as well, right? Because just make it a bit. It's close, but it's not quite there, and you need that for that full immersion for VR, right? So
Like if you could stick like some tiny like infrared cameras that kind of pick up just on the sensors, so you could like put like like 3 in each, like to make a triangle, so
Yeah.
you can triangulate better.
Exactly, because you're playing, you can only already look at the TV area. Once you're moving kind of left, moving right, things get awkward. It loses the configuration of it. It says like you're out of zone in the game and stuff, right?
Oh yeah.
That's really frustrating.
It's a bit
yeah,
bit
it takes you
frustrating.
out of it.
Yeah. So I'm hoping the next installment will be a little bit
Closer to.
a little bit 1-to-1.
The
Yeah,
thing I
exactly.
always wanted on VR with like those walking platforms was Skyrim, just for the whole like I would walk so much just walking and trekking around in Skyrim.
Oh, yeah.
Like, as this like like if you crouch and it detects you crouching, so like that kind of thing. Like
I could not
want-
imagine playing that game with the spiders, man.
Oh God! Actually, now that
Yeah.
you bring that up, that'd be bloody
Like
horrifying.
a spider just drops on you in VR.
Yeah,
You
they-
can't. What are you gonna do?
my
You can't. You
God.
gotta like throw
Piss
that
yourself.
thing
That's
out.
what you're gonna. That's what I was. That's what I would do. I would probably
Yeah, it
just
sounds
piss
like
myself
my-
and be like, "All right, well,
Sounds like your worst nightmare.
pack up the VR."
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
Yeah.
Jeez. Never again.
I think that's terrible for everyone. Like
Everyone,
just
yeah.
thinking about that actually was
It's
like, yeah,
horrifying.
no, I would take off. What's it? Cancel spiders, like
Cancel.
Was it? Well, you know, like
spiders are cancel.
like in Super
with
Smash
all this
when you
cancel
can-
culture, where the
Just cancel-
why
yeah.
do we cancel spiders?
Cancel these spiders.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be the true power of cancel culture if you could just cancel like spiders and flies and mosquitoes.
What are they doing out here with them 8 legs, anyways?
Yeah.
That's, you know,
That's
some
too many.
there's some iffy about that, you know.
Excessive.
I mean, 8 legs and no pants. Jesus.
And all the hair.
Imagine we were out here with those.
At least they're not the same size as us, which is good. In
Imagine
real
if
life.
imagine if spiders were us and we were
Spiders.
spiders.
At least they'd be running from us. Oh no, they kind of do.
No,
run.
Why? What do we got that's scary?
Newspaper rolls up. I don't know.
They just crush us.
Yeah, we got we got 2 arms, 2 legs, nothing. They got double that. We got regular eyes. They got like 8 eyes.
Yeah.
They got us there. They got like webs they can make. We can like
Oh, we would just get caught in there.
we can poop out. We can poop a bit.
We'll have to do the ape thing, poop and throw it at them.
Ah,
They've got 8 eyes, so we've got more chances of hitting them.
That's true.
Oh, one of my eyes.
They don't even feel it. They're just like, what is that? What is that? And then just flick it away.
We're like, ah!
That just reminds me of that episode of Rick and Morty when they're going through the loops and it's like person sitting on chair calling up
Yeah.
chair sitting on person.
Yeah. What I want to order people with
Yeah.
extra
I don't remember.
people.
Extra glasses or something.
Extra glass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
was
good.
fun.
Now I'm just imagining Spider-Man is literally
A spider.
a spider, and that just makes it so bad.
Dude, I feel like if they ever do a Mysterio in Spider-Man, that'll definitely be a level, right? Where it just gets all trippy and weird and shit, and then like Spider-Man turns into like the 6 where he starts growing
Oh
arms.
yeah.
That would be
That'd be cool.
awesome.
That'd be a
That'd
cool
be pretty
level.
sweet.
That'd be a cool level.
I'm kind of surprised they haven't done like in all the Spider-Man different universes. They haven't done like the Spider Pig. They haven't done like Spider.
Spider,
know?
spider, yeah.
Well,
Man Spider.
Man Spider. That's kind of like that was a comic based on that where or was it a dream? I can't remember.
Well, what I remember was I remember watching that in an animated series.
Right,
where,
in the 90s
where-
animated series?
Yeah,
Yeah.
where he was actually turning into a spider, and it was honestly
Horrifying.
horrifying. That was the scariest thing I remember seeing. I mean, Venom also used to freak me out. To be fair, in the
they did a
in
really
the-
good job with Venom in
in
that
the
series.
90s. Was it 90s, right?
Yeah.
The 90s TV series.
Go
like
watch it,
with the
guys.
thing
Yeah.
like that. I would
Super
hear
good.
that. I'm like, oh my god, you're gonna die! Run now! Like it was genuinely scary.
That was really well done. Like I remember that specific shot of where he's like fighting the symbiote in his head and
With
it like
with the
grabs him and
yeah.
then takes him into his mouth, like just eats him basically, and then that's when he's revealed to be in the black suit. Great show. Yeah.
He's on Netflix.
Disney Plus.
Disney Plus. There you go.
Oh yeah, because they bought
One of the
Marvel.
few things that they've got. It
Because Netflix has the Venom movie. right now.
does, yeah.
Oh
You should
yeah.
check it out again. I only watched it
Yeah,
once.
I watched like half of it. I liked what I saw.
Yeah. Well, Venom 2's gonna have Carnage.
It was entertaining.
I think that's the best way to put it. Entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Nothing
wouldn't
more.
go any deeper. I mean, I really wish that they'd gone properly into the horror element of like that.
They
whole-
should have.
And the fact that they went Venom before Spider-Man
Makes
is kind
no
of
sense.
like he needs. That's literally part of the whole character's identity
Yeah.
and Eddie's like driving
Yeah.
hatred.
Yeah,
for
because
him.
because Spider-Man like took his job.
Speed the man took me dirt.
No, it's because like dude. So what happened was, as like a Spider-Man expert, right? So Topher Grace was like dating Gwen Stacy, and then Petey Parker was just like,
Petey
"Yo,
Parker?
go back to that '70s show,"
Yeah.
and he was like, "No, I
No,
left,"
babe.
and then came back, and then the show's over now, and then
Oh, he went back for the last episode.
he did, and then Hollywood doesn't like me, and then that's how it happened.
That's how it happened.
I mean,
That's
close.
how Venom was born.
Yeah.
Well, it's the thing, like in the movie, he doesn't have the
He doesn't have
symbol,
the symbol.
which is sad. But also like the eyes where do you think his eyes, like, why do they look like that? Because he was part of Spider-Man before.
So he took it from the Spider-Man costume. It was supposed to be like the reason it had those eyes, the spider symbol, and like the big smile was supposed to be a mocking thing. He was supposed to be mocking Spider-Man.
Was it Sony? The Venom movie? Okay, so they had I guess they have to have the rights. It's
They do.
part of
But I mean, at that point, I would have just been like, all right, do it that this is post Spider-Man, and that instead of referring to Spider-Man directly, you would just refer to Parker or Peter or whatever.
Yeah.
Because that.
Well,
then,
they might have him show up in the next one. As like
but then that just convolute, like
Yeah,
that
it
just
doesn't
makes
make
the
any
whole
sense.
thing like much more frustrating because it's like the reason that Venom ended up in like the symbiote ended up there originally in the comics was because of the what is it?
Secret
like,
Wars.
The Secret Wars, right?
Yeah.
But then they changed it for the show where it landed in the spaceship, and then the first person that I got to was Peter, and then that's kind of like that's why it kind of knew all his powers and knew to counteract his spidey
That's why
sense,
he uses like the webs,
the webbing and all that stuff.
It makes him dance very strange too.
Yeah,
right?
it makes him dance all weird.
Yeah, jazz.
But that's how it knew how to do all that stuff, so it gave it to Brock, and that's what made the whole thing. I mean, I just remember if that was like a horror film, or, I mean, even if you do, imagine this as a game, is you're playing as Venom, so you are the scary monster, right? Like I know there's been this concept before in like in games where you are the scary creature that's freaking everyone out, but that'd be awesome as like I don't know, just to be like Venom, where you can be. Oh,
Yeah.
like
Playing
what was
the
that
bad
game?
guy.
Like
Yeah,
Prototype, like
yeah,
Prototype,
Prototype,
right?
yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Where you kind of do that, except it's I don't know, a little bit more horror centric, but you being the horror in it. That'd be really fun as a power trip kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, you do get to play as Venom in Ultimate Spider-Man, but it's not really to that
I
extent.
feel like you just become like a big beat 'em up. at that
Yeah,
point.
that's
Kinda
essentially
Hulk,
what
mini
happens.
Hulk, you know?
Yeah, that's essentially what
Yeah.
ends up happening.
I think that's like if you were to do a Hulk game, like that's exactly what it would be, right? Like just destroying the city. Smash.
Well, they made a good Hulk game back in 2005 for Xbox, PS2.
Is that based on the Ang Lee movie?
No, it's on its own. But no, you just like a giant open world. I know it's open world, but it's kind of like open area for like for
You
at
just
a
jump
time.
really high up and
Jump
stuff,
really
right?
high,
Yeah.
destroy cars, pick them up, pick people up, crush stuff. It was
Fight
like
tanks.
it was like an awesome like
cool.
Hulk game at
I
that
remember
time.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun. Like that's a perfect example of how you have to lean into what the character's abilities and sensation is. The Hulk is just a rage machine, and that is perfect. Like, just go for that feeling. Then just
Yeah,
be
you
like,
definitely
I
feel
want to
that in the
destroy
Avengers
shit.
game.
Bam.
Yeah, you definitely feel that.
Yeah, that's
power.
one thing about because like in the Avengers game, right? Like Thor, okay, it's kind of God of War vibes, right?
Yeah,
a
well, the was I think the combat designer for Avengers was part of the God of War team. So
Really?
yeah,
I like it.
so that's why Mjolnir feels really good.
Like Iron
Makes
Man,
sense.
you know, I played the Iron Man VR game. You kind of know how Iron Man kind of feels as well,
Basically,
right?
Anthem.
Anthem, yeah. Captain America, okay,
He's Shield Man.
he is that's
super
right, he throws-
athletic.
Yeah, who throws a shield,
Basically,
right?
like
Yeah,
Arkham. style.
sure.
Yeah.
The Arkham Spider-Man style. But Hulk's his own kind of thing, his own kind of beast.
Yeah.
You know, right? So that's
He's fun. You get to like if you hold down square, you can pick up who you're about to fight instead of just punching them, and then you take triangle and you'll just like do the smash move like you did to
Wicked,
Loki.
yeah.
Yeah, and then you got like the thunderclap where he'll just like wipe out everything. The fun part about it is that if he's in an enclosed area, everything around you is pretty much destructible, so you can literally destroy everything around you. So you feel like that immense power.
that's
right?
what you want.
Then it comes to like certain like you can break down walls and doors and shit like that
Yeah.
with his heavy moves and yeah.
Didn't they announce the DC? Sorry, just like on the because it's like Avengers multiplayer, like the Batman family kind of thing, where they've got
Yeah, Gotham Knights.
Gotham Knights, yeah, where there's no Batman, but there's Robin, there's Nightwing, Red Hood, and Batgirl, right? Like
Yeah.
That looks pretty dope.
that looks pretty cool.
I'm intrigued. Yeah.
because that is, and that's by
Warner Brothers Montreal, I think.
So the ones that did Batman Arkham Origins,
Yeah.
oh okay.
which is kind of the least successful of the Arkham
series.
games.
Arkham series,
Because
yeah.
when the other studio was working on Arkham Knight, they were working on or Arkham City. They were working.
But
on. I think it was,
did-
yeah.
Did they get to like borrow assets and game mechanics and
They
stuff?
did.
Oh yeah, it's almost
So-
the exact.
yeah,
It's,
yeah.
it's
all
ba-
shared.
It's
Okay.
basically Arkham City 2
Okay.
Yeah.
rather than like Arkham, because Arkham Knight was a pretty different game.
Yeah. Because they were Well, that's a little hopeful because then maybe this is kind of like.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
I
like
mean,
because
the
they've got all
gameplay
the
looked
same stuff
interesting.
and they've had the experience with Origins, like even if that wasn't as successful, then they've got the experience at the very least to kind of like
Totally.
For sure.
And,
try
and,
something.
and both Robin and Nightwing in Batman lore and video games, they're pretty untouched. Like you don't play, you rarely ever play.
Yeah.
You
And
never play
Batman
the
is
sidekicks.
and Batman's pretty over. like
I'm
like
glad that
sure
it's
we
not
haven't.
another Batman game. To be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
Sure, it's been like 5 years, but still, like it was.
You can
it,
go
we
back
had a,
and
we had
play
a
those
lot of
ones, yeah.
Batman. We had a lot of Batman.
That's why I'm
games
more
for a
intrigued by
while,
the
right?
Suicide Squad one because it's like open world, but also the co-op thing, which is just I don't know. I'm just intrigued. Also, it's a very colorful band of characters. It's like you got Harley Quinn and Boomer and Deadshot.
Yeah,
So like
a lot of
Deadshot's
cool
obviously-
kind of character.
Yeah, they're all
gameplay,
very unique.
things you
and
can do,
very
right?
interesting. And King Shark. I don't know. He's pretty great in the Harley Quinn like animated series. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. It's
No,
really
I
good.
was curious about
I
watching
recommend it.
Have you guys watched the Harley Quinn movie, the new one?
Yeah, Birds of Prey thing.
Birds of Prey? Is it
I have
good?
not.
It's okay.
Yeah,
It's not bad.
it's R-rated, right?
It is.
That's cool.
But the animated series is better. Also R-rated.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. That's why it's better because it's like they can do anything.
That's not on
they
Disney
want.
Plus, is it?
No, Crave.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
You have to get that family account for Crave.
Yeah.
set up.
I'll see if I can upgrade because I don't think it's expensive really.
Cool.
I recommend.
All right.
It's good shit.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, that's really. I really wanted to check out the animated series, and I really think like if they play their cards right as well, like then they'll be able to kind of do. I guess that's their somewhat of their response. I mean, they're kind of coming out
Whose response to
like
what?
DC's response to Marvel's like Avengers game, kind of in a sense,
A
right?
little bit, yeah.
Like I mean, like yeah. I figure like that's kind of like what they're going
Yeah.
for, and I think with if they're playing it as like your sense is you're the underdog in this, then it kind of is a good way to go up. Like story wise, potentially could be easier for them to get because you're kind of more ground level, right? In the with the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Like even though you're super powered, you're up against
the
Justice
Justice League.
League.
Yeah.
supposedly looking pretty evil. So it's like, all right, cool. So you're the underdog in this. I feel like that's a really cool.
Yeah. That's a
idea.
fun-
Yeah.
But we've only seen was it the trailer? No actual gameplay.
No,
or
it's
demo,
just a
so-
cinematic trailer.
Yeah.
And the game only comes out in 22, so they got a bunch.
Oh, yeah.
of
Oh,
It's a ton
they
of
got
time.
time. Yeah. I mean, it's a decent idea to build hype, and it definitely looks interesting.
And they can at least use like the full power of the PS5 and Xbox
That's
Series
at that
X.
point, yeah.
That's the
Right?
best
So
part.
that's
of it.
pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's not like they're.
They
putting
won't
it
have to
out
build for
immediately.
this generation.
Exactly.
They can
Yeah.
go for the next one
That's-
straight away.
That's what makes it intriguing.
Yeah,
is
because
that
I
they
mean,
don't have to do that.
the amount of work that you'd have to do for making it like for this one, and
Oh,
then making sure that it
God.
looks good enough for the next one, and then it's like that's like
Even
double
then,
the
it's gonna be
workload
like, it's
working
like
on the same.
up-res.
bloody
It's like
thing.
up-res. It just looks
Yeah.
a bit better. It's not.
you lose all the
groundbreaking.
time that you could spend into actually making a very good game
Yeah,
to making it like covering your bases. Essentially.
yeah, exactly. And it would feel unfair. Like, all right, well, like trimming it down to work on this one, if it
Yeah.
it'll have to lose some mechanics or whatever this generation can't process in time or hold. Like,
Yeah, it's just unnecessary.
yeah.
And it's Rocksteady. They're like
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Like
they know what they're doing.
it's been what they'll have 7 years of development
It's been a
time
long
by the
time.
time it comes out.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah,
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 it's been a long time.
2015 was the last Arkham.
I'm sure there was more involved, and like I feel like they were probably like shuffling around their IP,
yeah.
and then just like, what should we work on? And then eventually settled on Suicide Squad. And I'm sure the fact that there's a movie coming out soon had something to do with that decision.
Yeah, it's kind of the perfect.
Yeah. Also,
The perfect
it looks
storm.
cool. John Cena.
Oh, John
in the
Cena as
movie, right,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Oh, because Gunn's directing that one,
Yeah.
right? All right, yeah. I'm much more interested because
Much
he's
more
got a better
hopeful.
style with
It
that
just
matches
fits.
this kind of
Yeah.
team.
Yeah.
Which
Also,
yeah.
I'm glad that there's like 20 characters in there because I know that almost half.
Who?
Of them,
Yeah.
Most of them are gonna.
You have no
die.
idea who's actually gonna die
Exactly.
now.
Yeah.
It's like like in the last one, I'm like, all right, so it's between Diablo and the other guy, the Rappel dude, and I'm fairly certain it's not Diablo.
Yeah.
Like so, because they always this is like a I'm not it was a standard thing in like the animations and stuff. Like whenever they would do a Suicide Squad thing, is one person would question whether they have a bomb in their head and they die like straight
really?
away. Like yeah, they always did it as like a to show that there's something at stake, right?
But usually, even in the animated movies, there would still be casualties. But in the first Suicide Squad movie, I guess
killed-
Diablo died in the end, but again, it didn't feel like much of a casualty, really. It just felt like whatever.
Yeah. Well, I think the problem with that movie is just a whole is
Oh,
I mean
there
there
was
were loads of problems.
Yeah.
But I mean like the part that I didn't like was that they went from you guys are meant to be the ones who are unseen, so we can kind of
Yeah.
scoop you under the
That they're a
under the rug.
covert team.
They're
That's the
supposed to be a
whole
covert
idea.
team that if they get caught, they can U.S. can deny
Right.
accountability, right? And then the first mission that they have, they're surrounded by U.S. troops in the middle of the not day but night, and like taking on like a grand
Yeah. Like
a grand
supernatural
thing,
villain.
a supernatural villain that they caused because like if it wasn't for this formation, then that wouldn't have been happening at that point, and it wasn't for their poor management. No, none of it made fucking sense.
You gotta watch the.
Sounds like a whole other podcast. Is
That-
that
yeah.
Suicide Squad?
You gotta watch the
Review.
Assault on Arkham movie. That's the best.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be a blueprint for the Suicide Squad movie, which they didn't use clearly.
We need to show it to you. I think you'd enjoy it.
Yeah,
It's actually
it's a
pretty
good
good.
one.
Okay,
We could do a watch sesh.
I gotta
Let's
head
wrap her
home.
up.
Got a
I gotta
finito?
wrap her up.
Alrighty. So, any ideas for the next session?
Yeah, I think we should do.